sun comes up, it's our last goodbye. Won't let go, I don't wanna leave paradise. You make everything feel alright. You bring every piece of me to life. When we're looking eyes, I lose my mind, my mind. Amnesia. Amnesia.
Hello and welcome along everybody to Season 2 of the Universal Open here in London, presented by 7-Eleven and of course a Brisk. Now last year we pioneered the way for 2v2 Rocket League and we're doing it again this year with $100,000 on the line for some of the best players in North America and Europe to battle it out for. But we're back, of course we're back, but we're bigger and better than ever like we mentioned yesterday. Why? Double the amount of broadcasts coming your way, so you're not going to miss a single thing in the online qualifiers before, of course, we move into the regionals over the pond in North America. Now, my name is Onset. I'm going to be your desk host for today, but the two gentlemen that will be with me for the entirety of the qualifiers here is a man from North America. I'm going to start off with you this time. Achieves, how's London been treating you? I know you've been here, a few days now. You've had an extra day. I know you've been watching a lot of football.
I have been watching a lot of football.
I've
learned a lot.
Yes, that's the good thing. That's what I want to hear.
I've learned, all the rules for penalty kicks and how that operates. So that's good. It's a good start, and I'm getting there.
I'm glad to hear it, mate. I'm glad you're getting involved in the World Cup spirit, of course. Sorry to any Germany fans, by the way. When I say sorry, I don't really mean it. Anyway, the man at the end there, let's talk about you, Shogun. How are you? I know you've been working out hard today, haven't you?
Yeah, I was having like kind of an in-between sort of day, but then I walked in here and Achieve said football, and suddenly it's
we're
gone
making
from
progress
to there, and I'm much more happy.
Soccer is just, while I'm over here, I have to.
You're gonna start in that Twitch that we have once you get back over to the States.
Just be like, why are you calling it soccer? It's not soccer.
It's not soccer. It's football.
All right,
it's football all the way.
Well, you hear it's football, but of course it's not just us who are going to be involved in the broadcast. We want you guys at home to be involved too. So make sure you use that hashtag UOS2 and get involved. Let us know your predictions for today. Let us know the players that you want to see perform. Let us know if it's football or soccer. That's pretty much, we all know the answer.
We're just basically asking what's
also,
a bigger population.
let us know if you are a Germany fan, because let's be honest, we all want to know. We all want to share your pain. Anyway, let's move on a little bit. Let's talk about how exactly things work in the Universal Open, sponsored by 7-Eleven and Brisk. And let's have a quick look at the format, just so you can get your little head around exactly how things are going to work. So at the moment, we're in the closed qualifiers, the East, the North, East, Central, and West, and Europe at the bottom there. The top 4 from the American regions will move through into the regional finals. Obviously, you can see them all there: Washington, New York, Chicago, and San Francisco. The top 4 from Europe on the online qualifiers will move through, along with all those American teams, into our grand finals. That will be held in Stanford over in North America. 8 teams, August 24th to the 28th. They are the dates. Look at exactly how I'll be bringing your way today. At the bottom there, it's all about elimination today, so any team that loses today will, unfortunately, Fullmetal Gaming versus USF Bulls. Birds and Bees taking on J-Lo. Dingle Bell, not Dingleberry like I said yesterday, get that one right this time. Again.
Base Station, pretty much one of our favorites, to probably make it through this entire thing. So curious to see if they can make it through to day 3.
Now, for me, I've got to be looking at Splice. They've been dropped down a lot earlier than I think they wanted to be. They've got a lot of work to do now if they want to try and get themselves back up in those spots to try and qualify. But we've seen this before, and we've seen this very recently, where sometimes dropping down to the lower bracket can be sort of a good thing, where you can get a bunch of games under your belt. You suddenly start to feel very confident in your abilities because you've just picked up a bunch of wins. So maybe
walking through the forest by the lake, searching, trying to find a trace and calling, shouting out your name, calling. Is this really what I think it is? Am I really the one you need? And the walls are caving in, can't breathe now. Losing my sanity, I'm calling, shouting out your name, I'm calling. Is this really what I think it is? Am I really the one you need? Times running around, chasing each other down. Is this really what I think it is? Your silhouette out of the corner of my eye, out of the corner of my eye. Your silhouette out of the corner of my eye, out of the corner of my eye. Is this really what I think it is? Am I really the one you need? Desperate times running around, chasing each other down. Is this really what I think it is? Really what I think it is. Am I really the one you need? Desperate times running around, chasing each other down. Is this really what I think it is?
And now the best things in life, they come in threes apparently, because this is going to be our third time at trying this. Hopefully everything is fixed now. We found out that Shogun had accidentally chewed through one of the wires that was connected to the headset.
There was no accident about it.
Apologies for that. We do apologise, but we're going to do a very quick recap just so we make sure that you're all up to speed on exactly how things are going to be going tonight on the Universal Open, of course, brought to you by 7-Eleven and Briss. So let's have a look at the format, run you through that one more time before we do get into the action. Here you can see it on the left-hand side, all of the action we're going to be bringing bringing you from here in London. The East Qualifier, the North East Qualifier, Central and West for North America. And of course, at the bottom there, Europe will be fighting out for those top 4 spots to progress into that grand final. The American guys, they've got to work a little bit harder. They've got to go through those regional finals. Washington, D.C., New York, Chicago, and San Francisco before getting into that live grand final double elimination tournament, like we mentioned, in Stanford. 8 teams, August 24th to 28th. That is exactly the dates to put in your diary. Now, let's give you a quick brisk bracket update from the action that we had yesterday and show you exactly how the land lies at the moment. You can see it's all about the elimination games today. We're going to be focusing on the lower bracket. So we're going to have Splice going up against Weiss, Fullmetal Gaming taking on USF Bulls, Birds and Bees taking on JLo, and Dingle, not Dingleberry, like I said yesterday, taking on Titanium Squash. So they are our matches that we're going to be looking at across the board today. But let's have a look at the matches for tonight. Let's see if we can give you a little idea of exactly what we're going to be bringing you on the broadcast. But just before that actually comes up, gentlemen, anything that's jumping out for you there, just as we have these games come up?
I really want to see the Fullmetal Gaming one that we're starting off with, just because they took Space Station to 5 games yesterday, and I really want to see how well they were actually playing to take a team like Space Station all the way to 5 games. So I'm
Good
curious
news,
how far they
Achieves.
go.
You can see our first game today is going to be that game.
Exactly.
So you've got to be pretty excited about that, right?
Yes.
Just calm down, Achieves. I can see he's literally like losing it right now. So Shogun, obviously you're a little bit, peckish because you were chewing through wires.
Yes.
Admit that to the camera. Say, sorry everybody at home who was looking forward to some Rocket League and being on time. I made a mistake.
Sorry, everybody at home who was looking forward to Rocket League. I made no mistake at all.
I knew that.
I knew
I
every
thought
part.
just for a second there we were going to get it.
You thought
Just
you
a
were going to
drip.
get a sincere apology from me.
Yeah.
The Mega Shogun.
Shogun.
Nuh-uh.
I never thought it was going to happen. But, we
Big
have to try
misplay.
these
You
things.
tried.
Maybe
Big
by
misplay.
the end of the qualifiers, we might get something out of you. Just a
No,
little
by the end of
bit
the qualifiers, that entire
some
cable is
sort of-
going to be gone.
some sort of human emotion.
I'm going
coming
to go
out
from
is what I'm looking
chewing
for.
to just gobbling, okay?
Okay, fair enough. Well, let's talk about our teams in match number 1. Obviously, you're very excited about this one. Of course, we've got
Yes.
Fullmetal Bulls. Now, what can you tell us about these two teams? Because there's not too much information out there about them. We're pretty excited to see how these guys perform, right?
Yeah, I mean, that you kind of hit the nail on the head. While we may not know too much about who these guys really are, it's like USF probably going to be one of the collegiate teams, obviously, who's on there. I've got this magic sheet that tells me everything about this team. It's Philip and Peculiar for the USF Bulls, and the names look slightly familiar, but I don't remember how they really played in CRL or even if they made the finals. But same thing, really, for Fullmetal Gaming. It's Huncho and Chronic, 2 people we've never heard of, but they have to be obviously pretty good to take Space Station all the way to 5 games, so kind of leading their way just off the bat.
And what about you, Shogun? Obviously, a great opportunity here for some of the guys that, don't have too much of a reputation behind them to build that reputation here on this broadcast.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday in the case of a lot of the things we do. We see 1's tournaments, we see 3's tournaments. This is the only time we ever get to see 2's tournaments, and it's also the most played game mode that we have out of anything out there. So a lot of times, it's a skill set that these players have been developing for a very long time that they haven't been able to showcase. So there's a huge possibility for some players to really step up in a way that we haven't seen before.
Well, one thing that we need to mention to you guys at home before we do get into our first match, of course, is the Dual Force Player of the Match. Now, also known as the 7-11 moment, you're probably wondering exactly why that is, and it's because it will be awarded to the first player who scores 7 goals and nails 11 saves as well. We didn't manage to get it yesterday, but we're thinking we've got some closer games today, gentlemen, aren't we? So that might well happen. And now, one other thing we need to make you aware of, on a slightly more serious note, is the fight against hunger that we're going to be participating in during these broadcasts. Our fantastic sponsors over at Soylent will be providing 10 meals for every single goal that is scored during these qualifiers, and obviously it's a fantastic cause. They'll be donated to the World Food Programme over in the USA, and you can get involved too. Head over to wfpusa.org/
Universal Open.
Universal Open. I love doing that to people, just keeping them on their toes. That's why we've got Achieves here. So a fantastic cause. And yesterday we managed to get 740 meals. I mean, round of applause to all the players that were involved in that. 740 meals in the fight against hunger over in North America. A fantastic cause to be supported by our fantastic sponsor, Soylent. So, gentlemen, we're pretty close to getting into game number 1. Let's bring this back to the Rocket League now. We've talked about these two teams a little bit. Let's talk about the fact that these are now elimination games. The pressure is upped a little bit from that, being in that upper bracket. It's pretty much now win or go home. How does that change the mentality of the players in this one?
I don't know. I think with a day gap between it, I kind of don't think there's too much of a worry behind it, other than, okay, you don't have any more lives to lose, obviously, but considering the opposition that a lot of these teams had to play in day number 1, I think they kind of were well prepared for that eventuality.
I kind of have to go the opposite way on that one. I believe that there's a lot of these players that we're seeing that are sort of less experienced, and those are going to be the main ones that we're sort of showcasing today. If you're an experienced player, yes, they'll be able to just bounce back and play exactly the regular sort of style that they want to, but I feel like we're going to see, especially from these ones that we're less aware of, much more plain Rocket League, much more long clears, because they just don't want that danger to be around them.
Yeah, I mean, that's certainly possible, but it's like I don't think that them being an elimination is going to be the problem. I would say that.
Well, here we go. Game number 1 of the day is about to get underway. It's going to be Fullmetal Gaming taking on USF Bulls. So over to you, gentlemen. It's Achieves and Shogun.
Thank you very much, Axel. Oh, wow.
Oh, nailed it.
Oh, that one was a bit...
Oh, you guys can't see it. Onset's just going to get up and leave. He can't believe it's been done to him.
He's done with it. That one was definitely a bit of vocal memory of some sort.
It's almost like familiarity.
It is. It's very much familiarity. Don't worry, if I call him Tom Deacon, then we really know we've got some problems. Away, USF Bulls and FMG trying to bounce back after being dropped down to the lower bracket yesterday, as we did mention earlier on. It is all to play for. Any losses will result in them being dropped from the tournament and not being able to move on to claim their portion of that $100,000 prize. There's going to be an early shot from Peculiar, 1-0, and the Bulls will be very happy to see that.
Yeah, and it all gets set up by this really aggressive push, but that big demo on the midfielder adds the rotating out of that blue half, opens that door wide open. Peculiar, that's a pretty vanilla play, just, put the ball in the net. It's always the easy ones that are the hardest, so well on you to start off the elimination day with a good shot.
I expect these games to be a lot closer to what we saw towards the bottom half of yesterday's stream. That is going to be a big miss, though. And I'll tell you what, out of ways that you could drop a 1-goal lead, that's not how you'd want it to happen.
I would definitely agree.
I mean, it was impressive. Good leapfrog. Outside of that, though...
Very accomplished hopscotch Rocket League player.
Any game mode could come out at any point, okay? I'm just saying,
That's
if that happens, that man right there is the future of Hopscotch Rocket League.
That's the secret unveiling that we didn't get at LAN. Hopscotch Rocket League. And now I'm disappointed that we actually don't have
Modders, get on that right now.
Yes.
Philip, trying to find himself a ball, but will be immediately taken away. And Peculiar gets hit after just taking that ball to the other end of the pitch. Huncho, out for blood, it seems. A little bit too much time. This is going to be a big thing you notice from the higher level players. They, rather than wait for the best opportunity to come towards them, they create the best opportunity out of the situation that is already there. That you need to play for the speed first, and then you need to play the best thing you can around that. As you can see, the offensive pressure going towards the orange side, but now Chronic has got a 1v1, but how long is that going to be a 1v1 for?
Just long enough. Just long enough is right. Chronic had just a little bit of space to work with here. Peculiar's figuring out how much boost he has, if he can turn around, and these are all these things that are running through your head, and eventually has to tap the brakes, makes a decision. Chronic spots that slight weakness out behind him. Well-placed ball into the back of the net.
I feel like that was just a non-decision on the defense. You need to start figuring out when you want to go and challenge, because as soon as Chronic got the far side of the ball, he can cut that whenever he wants to. Heck, he might even not have to. He can just bounce off the backboard and send it to a teammate. Way too many options opened up. And the Bulls, ever since taking the lead, really starting to struggle, but now they can pounce on the other end of the pitch. Philip, up the wall. Just going to try and drop this one straight down. A teammate will not be able to get to that. No way does he want to overcommit towards that one. So we're going to stay 2-1. Peculiar to the corner. Chronic's got plenty of time. He's got plenty of boost, and he decides to hit that one with plenty of power.
I was kind of just watching Philip there, kind of surprised he didn't take a little bit more time back on his own half and really let Peculiar get all the way back on defense. And now it's going to be a bit of a scramble. Net's open, and Chronic's going to find it again. A lot of open nets on both teams.
Yeah, I'm not really too sure what's happening right now on the orange side defense. It's just an inability to read the game, I might say, sort of seeing what's right in front of them and saying, okay, we might have more time than we really think we do. No, that's not the case right now. Fullmetal Gaming are happy to punish these situations. And it was a very bright spot for the USF Bulls, but ever since then, it's just a couple of very silly mistakes.
Yeah,
and this might be adding to the pile. Another shot straight down the middle. Peculiar just there in time. Huncho, 4-1.
Oh,
Could do
free.
something big, but that's that big commitment. And Peculiar not only gets a goal into the back of the net to make this a one-goal game, but there's yet another 10 meals over to Cherry.
And that's the real winner right there. Some super aggressive challenging coming out of the midfield, though. You've already got a 2-goal lead. You only have to hang on for 2 more minutes. That's definitely one you got to look at and say, no, I can't afford to challenge that. If I miss it, it's a free goal, and they're right back in it.
Now we've got 2 minutes. Much closer game now. USF Bulls, I believe, really needs to cut out the mistakes. I think most of these goals so far have come from mistakes, apart from a somewhat decent dribble that we saw earlier on. And even that was given too much space. FMG will not want to overcommit like they did last time. They had a 2-goal lead. Got a little bit greedy trying to search for number 3. Peculiar. Over the top of 2. Chronic forced the backflip. If he can keep this one going, suddenly an opportunity could arise.
Ooh.
Philip too close though. Huncho forcing the challenge. Now Philip pushing to the side. 0 boost here. Will not be able to follow up. His teammate already starting to rotate back. Minute and 15. Chronic ball on the hood. Won't be able to cut that one to the side, but still using whip. Huncho wants to go for this. It could be risky, but right down the middle. Philip to the under of the pitch. Pushes it to the corner. Can go for a ceiling setup, but instead a little bit too late to that one.
Again, I'm not really the biggest fan of how aggressively FMG are taking these balls coming off of the orange back wall. Just, yeah, they made it back that time, but it is leaving the door slightly ajar, and at this point, you kind of got to lock down.
It's one big clear away.
Exactly.
Out the side, 40 seconds. USF Bulls trying to find that one goal that could force overtime. Options infield. Philip can get there.
Oh, is it through?
Nice block. Huncho's got to do well with this because the danger is still around. Double tap attempted. Never going to be able to get too much power. Drops back out.
It's going to waste
keep
a
this
lot
going.
of time.
Chronic just clears the lines.
It's just going to waste a lot of time as well. Only 15 seconds for maybe 2 more shots at most.
Any mistake, though, could be the ball in the back of the net. Early challenge. Too central. This is the reason why I say you've got to put your car wide. Very difficult to react. Chronic looking to try and set up one more. As soon as this ball touches the floor, it will be game over.
No.
Philip can carry.
Oh,
but just
he had
a
no boost.
backflip. A panicked dribble attempt.
He had no boost. I went and looked at his car, and he hit it, and he saw it go forward, and he gave up on it, and he was sad.
How are you, Axet?
Wow.
Are you feeling okay?
Gonna rub that one in?
I'm committing.
Yeah.
I mean, I can if you like.
Cool. All right.
But I mean, to be fair, I like him.
You know,
so.
this is your chance. I know you wouldn't give us an apology over for essentially trying to
I
sabotage
will apologize for that.
the broadcast, but look down the camera. Look down the camera right now, Shogun.
No, I want to do this better. I want to look at you.
Okay.
Because
all
I'm
right.
apologizing. I don't need to apologize.
All right.
I need to look at you on set. I'm severely sorry for what I did there. It
That's
was
okay.
unacceptable.
Don't worry about it. Axatos is a fantastic man, and I've got no problem with his name being used instead of mine. So anyway, Shogun,
Yes,
an interesting
on set.
first game, 3-2. Most
That's
importantly, 5 goals were obviously put in the bag as well, which means 50 more meals going over to the World Food Programme, thanks to our fantastic sponsors over at Soylent, which is something that we should talk about. But one moment in there was just a perfect example of something you guys were talking about yesterday, not having that third man rotation. And if you don't quite get it right, the breakaway goal can be such a huge part of twos.
Yeah, there was a lot of over-aggression. But I did like the bumps that we saw out of the USF team early on in that game. There were a lot of demos as they rotated out of the backfield. Kind of slowed down later on in the game, but I'd kind of like to see that come back, because I know when K-Dop and Fairy Peak were going on that twos tear, that was a big thing that they were both really good at. It was just demoing out of the backfield. It was really good. It's a good strategy, so I'd like to see more of it.
It was a very close game. I mean, there was some major mistakes at times. I mean, usually at this point we like to say what a team could do better. Maybe hit the ball rather than jumping over it. That would be pretty solid. However, I think I've seen quite enough there to say that USF Bulls can make this a serious game. And we have ourselves number 2 achieves. What are you thinking here? Is this going to be a 3-0, or can we see ourselves a couple of games on the board?
Is it going to be 3-0? I don't know. I feel like FMG was too aggressive to not at least give 1 over to USF. If they keep up that same level of aggression, I think you're at least seeing 4, maybe even 5. And there's another perfect example of it. They go for a challenge that they're beat to here on the sidewall. You're going to see it on the replay. It's that touch off the sidewall. Huncho's a little bit too slow. Just doesn't read that he's already beat and gives up the ball.
Well, you did say there was a possibility of them handing over a game. Starting off this match whilst handing over a goal. 1-0 USF Bulls. They started pretty well last time. They need to continue it this time around. As you can see the boost pick up. Peculiar able to take a hold of the ball. And most of the time that the ball goes towards your side. Could do better, Peculiar! He couldn't do much better with that one if he tried.
Couldn't do much better. And he had the boost, so they actually totally knew he had the boost. It's why he had to jump at it. That's great recognition from Peculiar. Because you always have to sort of decide as that second man back, do they actually have boost or are they just falling behind the ball hoping that they don't have it?
They just saw him pick up boost from the
Exactly,
kickoff.
and that's why it mattered so much. Had to respect that high option.
Well, now suddenly USF Bulls look like a completely different team. Doing incredibly well off the offensive, and we now need to see them on the defense, but if it's up to them, they'd rather not do that whatsoever. Chronic taking the ball on top of his hood, wants to try and go infield, but instead it's going to be over to Huncho. Bump attempt is going to be found, but
I went for that demo
too far to the side. Yes, if you ever see someone just sort of running wildly in a direction that doesn't quite make sense, assume they're probably going to go for a demo. It's going to be 2v1 for the time being. Huncho over to the side.
Tough play to
finally
make
getting
here.
back. It's going to come all the way out, but that's a lovely touch. Takes it out of the path of Chronic.
Yeah, you had to read that tough bounce off the back wall. It's kind of one of those awkward ones. You're not sure if it's going to come straight back to you or cut a little bit to the right. Got a little bit too far under that dribble, though. Has to give up possession. Needs a little help from Phillip. They're going to reset here on offense. Hopefully they can get things going back in the midfield here, though.
Fullmetal Gaming, the pace has just not quite been there so far. They're already aware that Bulls have got a few mistakes in them. But if you're not forcing any pace, it's giving them more time to set up and to really make a correct decision as to how they're going to approach the defense. Can't really get those mistakes out of them. I would love to see Fullmetal Gaming just to really up the pace, see what they can force, and maybe a couple of really powerful shots off that backboard, which we're going to see to start us right now, but that is a tap away from Phillip. Still, both players committed. That does mean FMG can keep the offensive going.
But this is really the first chance that USF has had to clear this ball. That was a pretty decent stretch of time that Fullmetal were in command there for a second. And they have another big chance here. If they keep stringing together some longer possessions like they did just a few moments ago, then they have a pretty decent chance of coming back. 2.5 minutes is plenty of time, and that one so close to getting it. It will get the job done. Off the back wall, Huncho's there. It's 1-2.
Yeah, but you just can't afford to set up those 2v1 situations. Once again, used incredibly well, Chronic. But he's got multiple options there, really. He can take the shot himself, he can go for the bait above the backboard, or he can just pass it laterally over to Huncho. Unfortunately, if you're the defender, you've got to make a decision there. 2 of them are wrong, 1 of them are right. And unfortunately, the odds are against you.
I really want to make a Hunger Games joke, but I'm going to let that one go.
Well, USF Bulls, we're hoping that they do not let this game go from their grasp. Had a 2-0 lead. It's been dropped down to 2-1. Still 2 minutes remaining in this matchup. Chronic. Not too much
he
there.
left
I'd
the
love to
ball.
see Huncho moving earlier. Now Phillip up high. They really want to re-establish that 2-goal lead off the backboard. Peculiar still going. This could set up that 2v1.
Wow.
Pinches could go to the other end of the field. Just about going to miss, but the follow-up is there for Chronic. Peculiar out of the way nice and early. Huncho didn't got the wall with that. Has to try and force a block. Now Chronic is all the way back. He's still got the ball going towards him.
Oh, he
that
has to get
backboard
it
yet again.
himself.
Peculiar, he's going to struggle with this one, but shot was right into his body.
I mean, Chronic knew that he had to do that one himself. He knew Huncho didn't have a lot of boost to work with. And still, again, you're starting to see FMG really string together some longer possessions. Of course, as I say that, stolen off the hood and up high in front of the blue net.
Huncho clears. 90 seconds now. As Phillip goes across field, looks for the shot. Oh, I don't know if that was a shot attempt or a pass attempt. Either way, right down the middle. Now Chronic with another clear. This should be
Free.
all tied up. USF Bulls committing too hard when they simply didn't need to.
Yeah, exactly. It's both teams are taking turns making the same mistake, really. It's just like, oh, we're beat to this ball. I'm going to go challenge it. And they're both kind of doing that. And it's something you absolutely cannot afford to do, especially in an elimination game like this.
USF Bulls making a bit of a habit of making sure they lose
Oh,
the
mama,
kickoff,
right
but
back.
they've re-established their lead. Who needs defense?
It's overrated. Defense is a crutch. Chronic gives up on that ball, goes for boost. Huncho's left in a one-on-one, and he makes a wheel. Just cuts right around to try and shut that dribble down early. The problem is, it was way too much space between him and the attacker when he decided to make that move. He needs to bait him in a little bit further before he really tries to go for it.
Oh, the attempt to fake it out early.
Does he get it?
He got noticed immediately, but Chronic! He's come closer to scoring on his own net than he did the orange one, unfortunately for him. 1
Feels
minute
bad
now. Fullmetal Gaming have done so much work to get this game back in their favor. They've dropped it back down to a 1-goal lead over to USF Bulls once again. They've got no one around to challenge. A long clear. Expect to see plenty of those now from the USF Bulls. They just try and kill the momentum. Chronic has the option. Huncho is that option. Off the crossbar.
They gave away.
2v1 now. Actually, just be Philip taking it by himself. Might have just set up Peculiar. Do not expect them to overcommit again. There is no way they would make that mistake yet another time.
And even better yet, they decided to just ignore the ball and demo the guy who's going to follow that ball out, waste a couple precious seconds off the clock, and not a lot of time left here for FMG.
The last throw of the dice, but it could be going over to the USF Bulls.
Not a lot of boost to work with between either of them. It's going to be tough.
It's all down to Huncho. Wants to set it up to Chronic.
Oh,
Shot is there, but it's not on time. Double tap! Just slipped through his fingers. What a game 2, lads.
I'm so sad. I actually really wanted that OT because they had between them a total of 70 boosts to work with 2 players on no time left, and I'm really sad that that one didn't find its way into the back. But either way, USF, I get the only thing that really leads them to victory there in that game number 2 is they made fewer mistakes. It was just a little less double commit, a little more limiting of the options. FMG didn't get a lot of offense going. They had a couple of brief stints here and there, but other than that, nothing super threatening.
Tied up at 1-1 then, gentlemen. Tied up at 1-1. You can see some of the replays from that game, and for me, the highlight had to be the air dribble coming in from Peculiar. That was a fantastic goal.
Came out of absolutely nowhere, really. For the goals that we have been seeing so far, they've been a lot more basic than, well, that was just a thing of beauty. I'll tell you what, if it stays this close, not only do we have the possibility of seeing our first on-broadcast 5-game series, but maybe, just maybe, we can see someone nail those 7 goals and 11 saves.
I think that's a very good point, and that's something we're definitely keep an eye out for. Of course, Chiefs, what were your thoughts on that game?
Math. You can see
Yeah,
the
that's
hamster
well,
is
like,
doing it in there.
We cut back just as he was sort of mid-calculation. I mean, we learned yesterday that all of us struggle. Let's be honest.
I have to think
struggle
really
with that.
hard when I do math on camera. Otherwise, I'll just get it wrong anyway. But what do I think? I mean, I think both teams just really got to limit the double commits. That's the big thing. That it's giving way too many free goals to the opposition. You take away the double commit goals on that, that's a 1-0 game.
Well, game number 3 looks like we're about to get underway as well. That's loading in the background, but tied up at 1-1, Shogun. I'm excited. As you say, this is elimination today. You know, this is win this or go home. So as soon as one of these teams loses, they're out of the tournament completely. It's still all on the line. It's tied up at 1-1. Gentlemen, back over to you.
I think the main thing right now is sorting out the consistency. We've seen the peaks of both teams so far. I've got to say, I believe so far USF Bulls have got the higher peak out of the 2 teams, but it's that consistency. How often can you do it? How often can you make sure that you are not making defensive mistakes? Peculiar wants to keep that going. Instead, he's going to be left by himself. 7 boosts.
Ooh,
An
nice
unnecessary
touch.
commit there from Philip. And Chronic, he wants absolutely
the
nothing
net.
with this. I don't think he's made the correct decision, but gets the save. Either way, they are stuck in a defense that they don't need to be in at this point in time. Now Philip takes that ball for himself. Gets the challenge.
Oh, no.
That is going to be an own goal achieved. You hate to see this kind of thing happen.
I absolutely do. It's just so unfortunate because he makes it. He's not doing anything wrong. He's grabbing the boost and rotating back to net. Unfortunately, the challenge from his teammate a little bit too directed towards the side and catches a bad part of the car and right back into him. There's not too much you can do other than that. But if you're USF, you tip your cap and say, "We'll take those, thank you."
Chronic. Just one good strike away from leveling it almost immediately after the goal. He'll be by himself. Peculiar won't be able to try and follow up, but Philip on the far side.
1-on-1.
Chronic takes it underneath.
Oh, you almost got him.
Close.
We saw that attempted a couple of times yesterday with a little less precision. He had the angle to cut the ball left, so it was good.
Peculiar. Drop down. Philip now wants to try and get around. Peculiar now. Might have the option infield. In fact, just tries to fake the ball out.
Oh, does he have the touch?
Philip now there. Off the backboard. How much they want to go for this? Not enough.
They don't have the boost. They have to leave this ball.
Philip has stole some boost over on the side. I think everyone's pretty low right now, apart from Philip. Peculiar keeping the ball up. Huncho on 0. Just tries to fake out the idea that maybe he had something to Philip. Who just tried to win the ball outright, and it was the correct decision to go for. Some mind games working out incredibly well.
Very well done from FMG to battle, and this one's down in front. Chronic gets home and muscles that one into the top left. Well played from FMG to finally get out of that defense, and more importantly, drive down the field in a couple of touches and put one into the back of the net.
Got to be really critical of that touch, though, from Peculiar. Any option was better than just flicking into the air for the opponent. Could have tried to play backwards, could have just taken it on his hood, and attempted to maybe just run past the offense that was in front of him.
Just force the challenge. I'd like to do that.
Dude, something that isn't giving the ball away for free.
Yeah, it's honestly not as bad an option as people think, is just forcing a challenge. This one's going to be free if he's right there. He's trying to take his time, maybe a little bit too much.
It's that hesitation I was telling you about earlier on, Achieves. Some of these guys, the main focus might just turn over to not conceding rather than picking up a goal, especially now that we see the game at 1 goal apiece. Haven't really seen too much of it because we've seen goals being scored pretty early so far.
He can't get it.
Off the backboard.
Nice bump.
We're seeing so many opportunities coming from this. However, the post will be the savior this time around. Peculiar, ball on hood, 0 boost to his name. He's still done well from this. Getting the challenge, going to unleash Philip on the far side. Philip, I think, just wants to try and set up time for Peculiar to get a hold of some boost, but that pass out will not be close enough to his teammates. Now Peculiar, taking the complicated route out, only finds himself towards the halfway line. But now Philip's shot should be saved by Chronic.
Oh no, not again!
Into his own net yet again. If that one went in, you got to start feeling there was some sort of force of nature against Fullmetal Gaming.
It's like, look, if you want to win this, you're not allowed to play any defense at all. Peculiar flirting with disaster as well, but well under control. Phillips just waiting, says, hit me up with a pass, big boy, and that's a rocket off the back wall to himself, and it's 2-1.
Didn't hit the first one correctly, but did hit the second. USF Bulls re-establishing their lead. And they've just got 101 seconds left for the match. And they can put themselves on match point.
And those were a lot of passes that we saw yesterday, especially in that upper 90 versus Splice matchup. Got to learn to read when that infield pass is coming. You see that wide cutout from the attacker.
Yeah, it's definitely a case of just look right in front of you, always right down the middle. No one who is waiting for their teammate to try and take the ball solo is going to sit laterally with them.
Unless they're going for the sweet bot pinch.
I'm not thinking that's possible, but you know what? I can't wait to be proven wrong on that. Huncho. Looking for that backboard. It's going to come off loose. So many opportunities created off the backboard again. And finally, Chronic will score the goal.
I actually don't really mind Huncho not putting this one in. Obviously, he would have liked to, but he did have to make this reaction. And he had sort of this decision. I can either try and get the goal or just make it as easy as possible for someone behind me. Because you know that the first miss on the defense is going to take a little bit to get back into the net. So I don't mind him trying to do too much. Just get the touch, make it as easy as possible, and they convert it.
These two teams incredibly even so far. Currently even in both games. Won and score in this particular game. Philip, backboard. Everyone seems to be struggling with the backboard so far. However, it has been USF Bulls struggling significantly more so far. Philip to the corner. I have an outfield pass, but that's well done by Chronic. He would love to have some, but you can see the desperation for just a little bit of boost.
That's always the worst feeling. Oh, and they drop the flick, too.
Out to the corner. Chronic finds himself a little bit too far wide. Was able to get there for a tap. Now Philip.
Double commit.
Definitely wanted anything other than to turn around for that.
Nice challenge from Honcho. He's got a teammate back in the midfield line. He's trying to do too much here. He just should have passed it back, and now they're just going to give up the ball for free. Not a fan of that play.
Next goal will win from the looks of it. Chronic flicks up. Huncho to the side. Chronic wants to go by himself. Gets the block. Now Huncho wants to keep this one going, but that should hit the floor. Overtime. And I believe this might be for the first time on broadcast.
First one on broadcast, indeed. Actually getting ever closer to the 7-11 moment. A couple of players with 4 goals already. This one down in front, Chronic breakaway, and Huncho for free. Make that his 4th goal on the day as well. 12 seconds in OT, game number 3.
Well, as overtimes go, it won't rank up there with the legendary ones. But
now here's the question: what do you define as legendary? What's a legendary OT?
Triple flip reset, double tap off the backboard, teamwork, coast to coast. I've got low
Any more?
expectations.
Want to throw like a wave dash in there
Well,
too?
to be fair, most of my ranked teammates expect me to do that all the time, so why can't I keep my...
Hey, what's an analyst?
I
don't know.
I was just waiting for the moment that I thought. I'm actually quite proud of you, to be honest with you. There, I thought you were going to drop the whole Grand Champ thing in there just again, just as you started talking about rank.
Thank you for bringing up.
Segue into that one. But speaking of segues, let's have a look at some of the replays from the last game, gentlemen. As Fullmetal Gaming, they go up in the series.
Just barely too.
Yeah, it's once again, it's those double commits. You got to really take your chances. You got to really sort of see when the correct time is to double commit, because you can double commit. There is nothing wrong with a cheeky double commit, but it's got to go right. You've got to score off it because you've got nobody back to help you. If you don't score off the double commit, you will be scored upon.
Yes.
I mean,
It's
pretty simple, yeah.
This is an axiom of Rocket League, yes.
We saw it from Germany earlier today. If you've got nobody back in defense,
Nothing goes well.
or in goal,
Manuel.
Yeah, it's a little bit easy to score upon.
A little bit, but at the end of the day, FMG still come out with a win on top, and they did have to stop a couple of tough plays. They need to stop the infield passes, because if they go on into that next round, into day number 3, they're going to be dealing a lot of that with any team they play, and maybe not even things well beyond infield passes. They're going to have to start dealing with, crazy double touches off the back wall and stuff like that. So work cut out for them, and they still have to get one more match. Or game, not match, sorry.
Yeah, go get one more game under their belts. However, we are very close to those 7-11 goals. How close are we to that? Have
It's
you been
pretty
able to
close.
keep up?
Chronic has 4 goals, Huncho has 4 goals, Peculiar has 4 goals. So if any of them gets a hat trick here in game 4.
Okay, well, at least have the goal side sorted. I'm not too sure on the saves at this moment in time.
I imagine they've got the saves.
Well, it's going to be another one for Chronic.
Oh.
He's actually got 2 out of that one, so he's even closer. Very good man there.
He also dodged an own goal in that game number 3 as well.
I don't really think Fullmetal Gaming would like to see any more own goals at this point in time.
It's
They would
just
like to see
made
some
that
of
game
this as Huncho over the top. They went for the race. Huncho was faster. 1-0 to Fullmetal Gaming.
And a nice couple of challenges here from Chronic, getting well behind the center of the ball there. And just pushing that ball out to the right-hand side. Very well done.
FMG starting off exactly how they mean to continue. Now Chronic can take it the entire length of the pitch. Another shot on target. Huncho this time. Wants to save out Peculiar. He wants to go the entire length of the pitch himself, but that halfway line held incredibly well there by FMG. Peculiar taps that one straight down. It's going to go to Huncho. Might just open up some space for Philip to take advantage of. He doesn't want to keep going, but he goes underneath. A nutmeg of the highest variety from Philip. Just take a look at the skill on display here. Takes his time, forces the pre-jump, and the smallest of all small gaps he takes advantage of.
Exploitation, and that's what a lot of what we see from the pros yesterday is you take what the opposition gives you, and Philip did a textbook job of that right there. Oh, he almost got the bump too. That would have been nice.
Predator missile was incoming. Unfortunately, couldn't hit anybody. Now they've got to find a way of playing this one out. I think there's very few boosts on the side of FMG. Philip could take advantage. Double commit though, but the lack of boost means that there will be no immediate counterattack. USF Bulls, they have made that mistake a few times. However, this time around, they will not be caught for it. But now Chronic goes for the shot. Not quite there. Played back out. Huncho wants to go for the turnaround. Peculiar back out to Philip. On the wall. Huncho happily see that one away after Peculiar was already rotating back. Did not want to see any of that ball.
Free ball here for FMG. I was about to say, I'm curious what they do with it, and they'll just, give it right back.
Balls.
Yeah.
There's a lot more long balls right now.
You said they'd do it, and that has been exactly the case.
Something that could prove a detractor later on in the tournament. However, both these teams, considering they're both doing it,
Free goal.
not really too much of a problem, but Hunt's just going to go in. I actually thought for a second there that Huncho was going to miss it.
Okay, so Peculiar's over on the blue side. Phillips out grabbing boost. How did they get so tied up on defense that one player's on the complete opposite end?
There never really seemed like a moment where it was that desperate or that needy to send your second player for it. You can just buy for time. FMG, the only time they're looking at right now is that 2 minutes and 50 remaining on the clock. Chronic wants to try and create some magic, and he's done exactly that. 2 minutes 45 remaining. 3 goals to 1. FMG could be looking at the next round.
Here's the best part.
He didn't have it.
He didn't have
But
it.
he could have.
That's the best part. It's just like you give yourself. It's pretty much the exact same thing that we saw out of who shot it earlier. Peculiar did that air dribble earlier. It's just like you force the opposition to respect the option, and he dove at it because he's expecting him to touch that ball, and he didn't have it, and unfortunately just lets it go right over his head.
And this becomes a very dangerous moment for USF Bulls. They're 2 goals behind. It means they're going to have to really commit on the offense, something that has found them caught plenty of times. That's going to be a long ball.
Oh my gosh, it's
Could that
in.
go the entire length? No! Just saved at the final second by Huncho. Well, I do get the feeling that there's a possibility they could drop that 3rd goal just by overcommitting, trying to find a way back into this match.
Well, either way, you'd hope FMG, if they get gifted a few more free balls on their own half, they don't just launch them away into the opposition side and give USF free chances on offense.
No, take that ball under the dribble, force the challenge. That wastes way more time than a long clear does. Peculiar, up the wall.
Oh, he wants another one.
It's going to be much more difficult this time around.
Oh.
The threat of it going towards the net, just not quite there. You have to have that ability just to say, okay, this shot touch that I took first is going straight in, and that one will be going straight in. Chronic putting on a scoring masterclass.
Yeah, poor read here from Peculiar. He doesn't get a lot of boost, and he takes that hard cut out towards the corner because he's got ball cam on, obviously, and Chronic kind of comes out of his blind spot. He doesn't see him until after it's way too late to go and get that one. Just gives up the free goal, and just that's a lack of field awareness. You really got to know the situation there.
Shot will go high. Just over 90 seconds remaining. USF Bulls have got to do so much work. It started so brightly for them. But now they've just got to find some way of scraping and clawing their way back into this match. They've played out one player. Philip has got to turn much quicker than that, however. Huncho, 0 boost. He's not going to be too worried about that right now. Just wants to waste as much time as possible. Shot will not come in. Force clear from Philip. This is the last position USF Bulls want to see right now. Oh, I've just been proven incorrect. That was the one thing they didn't want to see right now.
I said they had to get a hat trick. Chronic has done just that, so he's at least at the 7-goal mark on the series for the Dual Force Player of the Match, and he's got pretty good odds. It's just a matter of, did they put enough shots his way?
Considering the dominance they've had, I actually believe that could be a little bit of a negatory. They have been just on point throughout game number 4.
Another one? Nah, it's too high. And wide.
50 seconds remaining. Peculiar takes it above. Infield pass is available. Does take it, and there's going to be Chronic. That is a savior medal for him. And there's the follow-up shot. This time Huncho pulling that one up high.
Oh, what a tap.
Trying to look for that 6th goal. FMG. Definitely going to be a landmine for whoever has got to take them on in the next round. Peculiar. All the way back out.
And it is just a nice cruise to victory at this point now for FMG. They've done all the hard work here in Game 4. Phillips trying to get one more, and Huncho's just saying, get out of my house. They're just walking to the finish line as Chronic blasts another one at the net. So well played to FMG. They battled through some really early series awkward defensive double commit situations. Struggled a little bit stopping a couple of passes in the mid games, and then their game number 4, that was just domination. They got a couple of really good plays. I think they had 3, maybe even 4 unassisted out of their 5 goals. So yeah, 4 completely unassisted. So really well done.
Yeah, and on set we saw throughout that game just some of the more basic strategies that we see in 2's Rocket League, just taking those dribbles, getting off the backboard. If a team does not know how to defend the backboard, that is lethal at this level. That will get you caught time and time again.
Well, fantastic performance coming in there from Fullmetal Gaming, but probably the most competitive series that we've seen so far, to be honest with you. Both teams really did try and give as good as they got in that one. I do have a little bit of an update for you guys at home as well. Unfortunately, we were talking about how many strings to the bow that J-Lo has yesterday, right? We were saying, you know,
yes,
acting, singing, dancing, maybe, questionable. Unfortunately, one of the thing that she doesn't do well is be a good name for a Rocket League team, because unfortunately they weren't able to make it to their match today. So they're going to be eliminated. Birds and Bees will be moving through and staying alive in the tournament at the moment. So JLo will be knocked out, unfortunately, along with USF Bulls that we just saw there, which is it's a sad moment.
That
isn't
actually
it? It's
does
a
make me
sad
incredibly
moment.
sad. Because you asked me what teams I wanted to see play yesterday, and I said JLo. I really want to see how J-Bob and Lotech do. And you sitting here telling me that they aren't going to show up is just like...
Single tier. I'm sorry, look, I cross streams. It's what I do best. Actually, do you know what? That's a lie. You do that best.
What is with the shogi bullying today?
It's not dude, you didn't even call me the right name. Don't you have got nothing to go by today. You've got nothing. I've got that for the rest of this broadcast.
I want sympathy from everyone watching.
Hey,
Well,
nice shirt,
if you want to show Shogun some sympathy, use the hashtag UOS2 and send him your love. But let's be honest, he doesn't really deserve it. But anyway, if you do want to get involved, of course, with the conversation, then join us. We'll try and get some of your tweets featured on stream as well. But we got pretty close to the Dual Force player of the match there as well.
Yeah, Chronic definitely put up 7 goals. I'm just not sure how many saves he got because, keeping track of saves is way out of my league. That's too many numbers, and I can't count that high. As a music major, I guess I can count that high. Only I ever learned to count to 12. That's the joke I always tell people. So
it was very close. I'm just hearing in my ear right now. It was actually 10 saves, one off.
And they were allowing a lot of defense towards the end of that.
Yeah, I mean, we got pretty close, to be honest with you there. We got very, we could smell it.
Okay, so here's the tips we're giving right now. No mercy.
Yeah.
But
save the ball.
Some mercy.
Enough mercy to force some defense. Yeah. Good luck trying to toe that line.
That's a very fine tightrope to walk, Shogun.
They'll do it. Just blast long balls.
Oh, that's a good point.
Okay, so what we just seen there from Fullmetal Gaming, I mean, how far do you think they can progress in this tournament? They did show some individual ability. We saw some impressive individual plays from them as well. But, what's maybe going to be their shortcomings looking forward? And as I say, how far do you think they can go?
Depends who they play in the next round. If they're on Splice's half of the bracket, I think they're out. I don't think you can afford that many defensive miscues like you did early on in the series and set yourself in a hole early on and only a best of 5. It's not best of 7. You don't have a lot of room for error.
Yeah, I think depending on who they've got next round, I think they're one win away from potentially going out. It's just not quite there. The inability to really see what players coming up, they're sort of reacting to rather than predicting what is going to happen around them, which you just can't afford to do at this level. But there was an incredible base to build upon. I'm really looking forward to seeing where they go from here.
Indeed.
Well, one of the things that was obviously very good and something we need to remind you guys at home of is, of course, one of our fantastic sponsors, Soylent, who will be donating 10 meals to the World Food Program over in the USA for every single goal that is scored during these broadcasts. Now, I believe we might have had 21 goals. I know you keep it. 21 goals. We're going to go with 21 goals. That equates to 210 meals for the hungry over in the USA. If you want to get involved, of course, you can head over to wfpusa.org/
Universal Open.
Oh,
sorry,
come on,
sorry.
James. I thought you had it there. / Universal Open. And you can get involved with what is a fantastic cause. So, I mean, that's pretty impressive so far.
If we keep at this pace, we're going to blast yesterday's number out
we
of
had
the water.
74.
That's a very good point. And we might... Do you know what? I'm actually genuinely excited to see. I feel like today might be the day that we get that Dual Force, the 7-11 moment.
Pretty good odds. If not today, probably tomorrow.
That's going to be it's definitely something to keep an eye on.
It will definitely happen.
Just a reminder that, of course, unfortunately today, due to JLo, unfortunately forfeiting their matchup, they're going to be sent home. But we'll only be bringing you 3 games today. But it's not too bad. Remember, this year we're back bigger, better than ever, like previously said, and we'll be bringing you double the amount of broadcasts. So 1 game, unfortunately, we can't bring you due to the fact that there isn't a game. But as I say, we've got a lot of Rocket League to be bringing you. But let's have a quick brisk bracket update now and have a look at how the land lies after those games that we have just seen. You can see now, Fullmetal Gaming will be taking on Splice Cheese. As you just previously mentioned, on the other side of the bracket, you can see Birds and Bees will be taking on Dingle, who took down Titanium Squash in a 3-0 fashion. So 3-0s across the board there in those elimination games that we've just seen there. Now, let's talk about that game that you just mentioned there, one that you're pretty excited to see.
The Fullmetal and Splice one?
Yes.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting because Fullmetal definitely has a couple of things they want to work on, and Splice has to be playing well today. Kind of surprised to see them 3-0 Weast like that because Laz and Planting Cargo, they didn't play too bad yesterday.
I think after watching that game, Splice got to be seeing like those couple of infield passes that went really well against Fullmetal Gaming and just going, oh yes, oh this
This is the time.
Right.
The thing that didn't work yesterday is gonna work perfectly
Yeah.
up against them. So Fullmetal Gaming, they need to be on the lookout for that.
Well, Fullmetal Gaming are going to be on the lookout. Splice, as you say, looks like things might be working out nicely for them, but we're going to go for a very, very quick break. When we get back, though, of course, we'll be bringing you some more Rocket League action from the Universal Open. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back in 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 minutes. Who knows?
So you'll be here to help if I need you?
I got you.
What about here?
Yep.
Here?
Yes, Kyle.
And here's Sir Robert from State Farm.
If you invite me.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
So you'll be here to help if I need you?
I got you.
What about here?
Yep.
Here?
Yes, Kyle.
And here's Sir Robert from State Farm.
If you invite me.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Universal Open Season 2, presented by Brisk and 7-Eleven. We've just seen our first match of the day where we had Fullmetal Gaming winning in a 3-1 fashion over their opponents, USF Bulls. But our next game we're going to be bringing you right now is Birds and Bees taking on Dingle Bell. Dingle Bell. Got it right this time. Absolutely nailing it today, gentlemen. What are we thinking about this one in our second game? Of course, another elimination game here. The loser does go home to be joining the likes of J-Lo and USF Bulls.
Well, what am I thinking? I'm thinking it's good to see Derek and Bill play a team that isn't NRG 2.
Yeah.
God, that's going to trip me up every single time. It's just like it's one or the other, and it's never both, and it feels weird saying NRG 2. But I will get there at the end of the day, and I think I'm ready to see Derek and Bill really show it. Mostly what they can do. They only put up 5 goals yesterday versus J-Naps and Garrett G, so kind of curious to see how much chances they get on offense here against Birds and Bees.
And Shogun, that's the
Nailed
one, isn't it?
it.
That's
You
your
got
name,
it.
Yeah.
You got it. You see, you never forget my name. It's
I
because I'm
remember
more
your name.
important than you. However, I think this is going to be a very interesting match on set. Much more interesting than the look that you just gave me.
I genuinely wish sometimes everybody could see Shogun off camera, because he's just been, giving me heart symbols and love, and as soon as he goes on, turns into a savage, and that's why I like you. That's why I respect you. But let's talk about both these teams
See,
here.
people are nicer off camera.
Yeah, they are.
True.
No, that's actually
No.
most
Most of the time,
normally
most
not.
people are meaner off camera, aren't
that's
they?
Yeah, I was
very
about to
true.
say, I think I'm nicer on camera.
Let's talk about the team that we haven't seen so far. Let's talk about Birds and Bees. What can you tell us about these players? Are these another unknown quantity, or is this another couple of players that might pull out a little surprise for us today?
Roldiz and Sipical have kind of been around a couple of community tournaments, but other than that, again, sort of not too much to go off of other than, yeah, they're not half bad, and that's kind of about it.
They're not
I mean, they've got 2 wins under their belt.
That's
So
a
at
good
the
point,
very
yeah.
least, I mean, when you come into these tournaments, the big thing, don't go 0-2. That's what everyone says to themselves. Do not go 0-2. If you can pick yourself up a win, that's great. If you've got 2 wins, that's a successful tournament at the very least.
I was going to say, it's all about progression, isn't it? Yeah, I think you mentioned at the start, the players going from the ranked game into, the professional sphere, these tournaments, trying to test their skills and see how far they can progress. When you start entering these tournaments, you're not going to win them straight away. It's very obvious, but it's all about progression. It's about seeing how far you can get. Can you get another round next time you enter one of these tournaments? Can you progress into that next round? Can you get through that that lower bracket and give yourself a chance of qualifying? But that's enough from us here, because we're about to get into our second match of the day, and it is of course going to be Birds and Bees taking on Dingle Bell.
Well, Birds and Bees looking to try and keep their fortunes positive, whilst Dingle Bell were forced to look at least somewhat average against a phenomenal NRG2 squad yesterday. However, not every team you take on is going to be of that caliber, and now we're going to be able to see what they are capable of doing. Jeeves, I feel like for this game especially, because now we're reaching the other sort of round, I think we can start seeing a lot more high-level play when it comes to these 2 teams against each other. That's going to be an immediate shot. Derek, though, perfectly placed to clear the ball. What can we expect to see that we didn't see in the last few games?
You're going to
be a great
see
start.
shots like that from Sipical with a solid air roll. It's not a bad clear from Derek, actually. Gets it all the way out to safety. Roldiz with another great pass out of reach of the defense, and Sipical flying upside down around. Bell clips the post, goes sailing on by, can't stop it. So a nice shot from Sipical. And what do you expect to see, Shogun, to loop back around to that? You're going to see a lot of decent offense. That's what you're going to see.
A lot more purposeful offense, as there's going to be the pass immediate. See a lot of time for some of the players, they're just sort of making it up as they go along. Over this match, expect people to really know what they want to go for almost immediately, and if it doesn't start to work out, as soon as they know that the plan is not working out, they can immediately start rotating back rather than trying to scramble for a play. Derek, there in time to stop Sipical, the goal scorer in the opening few moments. Remember, Birds and Bees, not necessarily a team that we've heard too much about, but if they were to get a win here, I'm sure we'll be hearing plenty of them, because they will be making it through to tomorrow, our final day of qualification, at least for this region. Sipical forced to rotate back. Doing a pretty good job of holding that midfield so far. Wants to go up high. Drop straight down. Derek clears the ball. That could be dangerous, but Sipical is already rotating back. He stole the boost from the back right-hand corner. And that is going to be a not great touch. Shot on target, but Roldiz in the way. First bit of offense Dingle Bell have had so far. And it looks like it's going to go away just as quickly as it came across.
Yeah, it was really good poise from Roldiz in the net. And to be honest, the execution on offense from Dingle Bell was a little bit weak there. The pass across was a little bit slow. The shot was a little bit slow. It all could have been a lot better. That one probably should have found the back of the net as well. So Derek and Bell needing maybe a little bit to really get settled in here.
Yeah, not the best start from them so far. They've allowed Birds and Bees to control the pace.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's a phenomenal block, and that could be dangerous. It's going to go across the line, but Derek does not want to move forward just yet. Instead, allowing the boost to be wasted. But Bell choosing to
clipped
rotate
him.
back. Bump will happen, but Sipical not bumped away, just knocked down to the floor. Still, 1 goal is the difference in our opening matchup. That's going to drop down, but Derek covering very well. You're going to see that quite often here, where one player is just going to consistently go for the save. The next player, that's job is just to clear the lines, maybe create the next opportunity. Derek now to the corner.
Now, Derek and Bill yesterday when they played in our G2, they allowed a lot of goals, but they did have to spend pretty much the entire series back on defense. And to be honest, for who they were playing against, their defense was pretty solid. So I'm really kind of expecting Roldiz and Sipical to really have to put in some work if they want to get one through. But right now, the defense is looking a little bit scratchy.
1 goal is all you need.
Goodness.
2 goals is just even better. Birds and Bees, they're already up. You were talking about that really good defense, but
yeah, right.
didn't really show it right there.
Yeah, if that's not like classic caster curse, I don't know what is. I feel a little bit bad for being like, yeah, they actually did pretty good on defense yesterday, and then they're just like, miss, and it's in. Okay.
Oh, the 2-goal search is now on for Dingle Bell. Nobody around for the infill pass. Bell's touch forced into the corner, just trying to buy some time to get that defense back.
Oh.
Every single time Bird and Bees have got someone around, you can see just how difficult it is for Bell to try and find some gap. And then we see it from Derek. Just every time there's no movement available for them. The infield pass, Sipical does not want to commit. Finds himself too close, no real need to jump.
Oh, what a play.
Oh, that is an unnecessary double commit, however, to the other end of the pitch. It rolls in the worst way possible for Dingle Bell. It can bounce out, it could do anything else, but as soon as it rolled up, it's done.
Anything but straight up. And that is honestly, kind of takes the wind out of your sails a little bit. A minute left, you're asking a lot of any team, especially with how well Sipical and Roldiz are playing on defense. To get 2 goals in that short amount of time, Bell's trying to dive down and get that on a dribble going, but I don't know if they've got enough time. Just Roldiz and Sipical playing some sound 2v2 right now. It's pretty textbook.
Sipical, plenty of time.
Aware of the time too right there as Sipical caught that. He jumped up initially in case someone was coming to challenge him, and he said, wait, nobody's here, and he just let it fall back down and try and get a better touch.
The time that they're all going to be very aware of is that 30 seconds remain in game number 1. That is a great pass straight down. Message sent by Birds and Bees as Onset just looks at me and he shows the okay sign. He was plenty pleased with that one.
It was a good one. They've got some great recognition. They're taking what Bell and Derek give them. They're noticing the gaps in the defense, and they're placing the ball. They can't go and get it. It's just some solid offense. It's not crazy. It's not flashy. Okay, the first goal from Sipical was a little flashy, but the other two have kind of just been like, look, we're gonna take what you give us, and they've nailed it every time.
And they're very close to that very rare clean sheet we saw. I think about 6 across all of the games yesterday, and those were including the ones off broadcast. Barely any happening. That's going to be a smoke screen. The follow-up shot will not be around, and the post is the savior.
Smokescreen is honestly like the most terrifying thing on defense.
Just jump.
You're
and
just
hope.
sitting there in the net, and then someone explodes in front of you, and you can't see anymore, and you're sort of like a little terrified for however long it takes for that to clear, and
well,
it's the worst.
Speaking of being terrified, suddenly on set, everyone's a little bit terrified of Bird and Bees. We were sort of writing them off coming into this one, and they did that.
That's what these broadcasts are for. Getting involved in these tournaments, it shows exactly what you can do. We unearth some gems, is the best way to say it, because that was incredibly impressive, fundamental 2v2 Rocket League.
Yeah, it was pretty clean. I mean, I pretty much said everything I wanted to say about it in the midfield. They even limited Bell and Derek what they could do in that game. They only put 3 shots on the board. They had to make 6 saves between them both.
Now, if I was trying to force some criticism out, maybe don't double commit when you're 2 goals up towards the very
Didn't matter.
end.
They didn't even score.
Didn't
even score.
They required PvE to come in and help them out there, but
Map OP.
everything outside of that one mistake, I mean, you take a look at that. That is coordination at its finest.
Yeah, it was very impressive, and it was, you know, we had the first goal, which is a fantastic individual play, but you guys talking about it yesterday, you need more than a plan A when you're doing 2v2s. And I think that's the first time we've really seen one of the teams in this tournament, you know, outside of maybe, you know, NRG2, who
just do whatever.
They
just do whatever they want.
They can do whatever they want, but who seem to have clocked onto this. You know, we've seen a variety of different goals scored there. Defensively, also very sound. Could be a bit of a dark horse here for qualification potentially.
Certainly not a bad team, and these guys are on the. Wait, they would play the winner. I'm not good at brackets. I need the bracket in front of me. So before I just trip over that.
We'll give you a brisk bracket update as soon as we can achieve. Don't worry, we'll get you covered. But as you can see in the background, game number 2 is underway. Gentlemen, take it away.
Well, Bird and Bees not only taking the win in the last match, but they kept Dingle Bell to absolutely no goals. Dingle Bell looking to try and start this match by correcting that problem.
Yes,
they
they
will.
will.
Side, but Roldiz finally able to clear that one away. Typical infield pass. That is very far away, though, all the way from the halfway line. That should not trouble Bell too much, but they've got control of the field. They should be able to take control of the boost. You can see Typical, he's in no rush to try and put this one forward.
And this is really going to be the big adjustment game for Dingle Bell as well. They're going to have to say, okay, what did they do well? And what they did well last game was putting the ball into space where neither Bell or Derek could get it. They're going to have to just figure out a slightly different approach to how they rotate. And Birds and Bees, they need to start winning a lot more of these challenges. These are some very neutral challenges that Birds and Bees are forcing. They're not clearly going in one team's favor or another. And overall, Roldiz and Typical just have the better position on those, and they're getting out in front.
Derek just trying to muscle away through. He's done exactly that, but Bell's shot is blocked. Every single time a gap opens up, Birds and Bees just able to shut it almost immediately. Bell by himself goes on the backboard, well positioned by him.
Oh, can he get that? Okay.
He's got space to allow Derek in, but I don't think they quite knew what they wanted to do with that, but unfortunately for them, neither did their opponents. Far side, Bell looks for the drop down. These corner passes have not worked so far. They've tried it a couple of times so far in game number 2. Haven't found any success. Typical by himself. He might only need himself off the crossbar. Still 0-0.
At least Dingle Bell are starting to get a slight foothold over on the offensive side. Not a big fan of the big touches forward. Trying to chase things down. That's one thing Birds and Bees definitely has them beat at in this series so far, is recognition of how much time they really have and taking full advantage of it.
Yeah, Dingle Bell trying to force a speed game right now. A speed game that they are currently losing. And not only are they losing the speed game, they are currently losing the game. 1-0 down.
I mean, there's not too much to say here. Bell's just a little bit too close to Derek. A lot of faith in Derek getting that touch. He's ready to move forward onto the offense. One person misses. The second person isn't in the best position. They try and limit the damage, and unfortunately, you know, you'd make the hole bigger.
4 goals to nothing throughout this entire series so far. Dingle Bell might be about to hit crisis alert. The second game, not quite going their way so far. Derek can't get that ball on his hood. As soon as it started rolling, he knew that play was over. But the boost steal could do well.
Oh, they bumped each other in the net.
These shots really in a dangerous position. They're not getting this ball high enough. Typical looks for the follow. And there was the option there. Roll will eventually go for the shot. He's got it in. You could see him. He turned around because he thought, there's no way I'm going to get this opportunity.
Yeah. What the? Bell, you got to hit that ball, my friend. That was just a weird mixed bag of awkward defensive choices from Derek and Bell. Derek on the rotate back. He really rushed right into the net. He didn't even take the corner boost on his way in. Kind of might have made Bell jump out of the way because he didn't want to get bumped by his own teammate, maybe challenging before he even wanted to. That was just an odd showing.
Bell all the way to the other end of the field. Straight up that backboard. That roll-up has just been a consistent pain in the side of Dingle Bell. That demo should be very useful. There'll be no passing options for Typical. Just going to waste time right now, let his teammate get back into a decent position.
Still forced a challenge. He didn't get a piece of it, but he did force them to put it out into neutral ground and buy a ton of time for
Oh, that's a no-touch right there. The shot straight down to Bell. 2-0 is something they can recover from. 3-0 with this little time remaining could be killer. Birds and bees.
Good chance. Oh,
Trying to get it. There will
just
be
kidding.
goal number 1, though. It took almost 9 minutes, but Dingle are on the board, and they're on board with time to spare. They can get this back.
Yeah, you can really see Sipical trying to get all the way around the outside of that ball, quickly slice that ball across the pitch. Bell with a solid read on that one. Recognize, you know, here comes that big wide cut to the outside, and the hard infield pass is coming. Reads it well. Gets a little bit fortunate with the pinch, but, you know, either way, I'm pretty sure he was going to score that off the breakaway.
Well, suddenly, there's the opportunity there for Dingle. They look to try and find a way back into this matchup. Straight back down.
Nice
Derek
demo.
has got the demo, but he doesn't have the shot. Everyone forward. Almost the entire play was done
Can't catch
correctly. There was just simply no finish there. Block attempted. Reciprocal and teammate, I should say. 45 seconds away from match point. Roll. They're in time. Dingle stuck in their own half, the worst place they could possibly be. As it comes all the way out. They've committed pretty heavily, but they've already got Sipical starting to move back. Bell on the far side is an option, but straight down the line. It seems almost wasteful at this point in time from Dingle. The option was there. The pass was right in front of him. Now looking for the ceiling. Flip reset. Drop straight back down, but the extra touch will kill the momentum. And if this goes in, it could very well kill the game. 10 seconds. Bell to the far side. Dingle got to put something together. They've got to put it together right now. That bounce will not help out either. Bell could not get any extra pace. That will drop down. 2-1. 2-0 up. Upset alert is now on.
The upset alert is on.
I'm just thinking, and it's. I feel like I don't know enough about Roldiz and Sipical to really call this an upset, you know, because it's
I feel like we spend a lot of time trying to search for the new names out there, trying to sort of peruse to make sure we are aware of the next ones coming up. So when someone sort of takes us by surprise like this, it's a big deal, especially to us, because these are now players that we're going to be looking at in the future and just going, okay, we know who you are now. Everyone knows who you are now. There are expectations upon these guys.
A little bit.
I'd have to agree with you. And the thing that's actually impressing me quite a lot is, as I say, it's almost like I mentioned in the first game, is the ability to mix up their play. That, you know, defensively they've been very solid. You've seen, you know, they were a little bit unfortunate there with the goal that they conceded. You could see the idea they were going for, looking for that infield pass. Unfortunately, it was a good read. But, you know, I think you make a really good point there. You know, next tournament comes around, you know, these players aren't unknown anymore. These players
this is the exact point.
Everyone turns up to the match and is like, okay, we need to perform to beat these guys.
This is the exact reason why we have this tournament right now. We've got things out there for ones. We've got things out there for threes. This is the main deal for twos. There's twos players out there. There are players out there that only play twos. I mean, I know you told me that you've seen these guys previously. Yeah. I don't think you've seen these guys play this good before.
No, I've never seen Sipical and Roldiz play a twos tournament. That's for sure.
Well, it certainly seems like that is their area of expertise. Just need one more game. They've got 3 games to do it.
Well, if there's one thing that I'd like Dingle to fix here in this Game 3 and the rest of the entire series, I'd really like to see them take better care of the ball as they're moving up the field. They have that nasty habit of just hitting it a little bit too hard, and they can't really track it down. Like, just there. Bell hit that ball way too hard, and now they have to really fight for this ball.
Gonna drop straight back down. Very close, though, to roll. Sipical with yet another block. There's a lot being committed here from Dingle. Finally played back. That was pretty good, just to allow more space to happen for Bell, who can get this one dropped straight back down, but Derek had used all his boost on the previous play. Won't be there in time for this. Infield pass. Nobody around for that one. That one was more just muscle memory, saying, okay, there's a possibility there for an infield pass, so I'll probably go for it. Now back out. Sipical can see his teammate, but so could Dingle. Opportunity now, but immediately shut down. That is the reason why you go wide. If you can't get the pass, you can immediately turn. You can cover the options.
Spread of the field, very important in twos, even more so in twos than it is in threes. You have to cover so much of it, and that one is a missed clear. Bell's going to make him pay. That's their first lead.
Crucial as well for Dingle. Plenty of time left in this matchup, but he seemed almost convinced that the opponent was going to miss it as soon as he touched the ball, so it seemed like more like a bait than anything else. So just saying, okay, I know where this ball is going, but you are not quite as sure as I am.
Big advantage of position. I talk about it a lot.
This could go number 2, and it is. Suddenly, Derek and Bell rolling in game 3.
That's a great kickoff from Derek and Bell. Just you can see the two different schools of thought. They both did the same thing. Both teams decided to cheat up. One got really, really close. The other waited about halfway back, just in case that exact scenario happened, was able to react, had more space.
Yeah, those cheat ups. Oh, wow, that's going to be number 3.
Oh, wow.
Birds and Bees. We've just spent a long time building them up, but this is a catastrophe, and missing that boost on the far side was even worse than that.
That's really the only thing that allowed that entire thing to happen.
I mean, it's 2 kickoff goals. You went
Yeah.
one goal down, and suddenly it's capitulated in game number 3 for for Birds and Bees. It was avoidable. A lot of these problems they currently have were avoidable.
Small mercy is they've still got 3.5 minutes to get 3 back. So, I mean, that's a goal a minute, right? How hard could it be? It's 2v2, come on.
Absolutely. As soon as they finally settle themselves down.
Here's a cut.
Infield pass is there, but immediately read. You can't make them that obvious because they would be immediately chased after. I've seen very few faked out infield passes. I would love to see someone just go for a cut and then just stay still because people are reacting.
The hardest thing about that is usually on an infield pass, the ball's, it's not bouncing. If it's bouncing, you're just going to take it on a dribble. And on an infield pass, usually it's rolling around the ground. So if you fake it, you don't really have any options other than to hit it that way later on anyway.
Flick up. Sipical can get it past. Has he got a second touch in him? No, but he's forced Derek up. The pace should be around, unfortunately. Just couldn't gain ball control quickly enough. 2.5 minutes remaining. Dingle Bell in the driver's seat, looking to try and force the reverse sweepers. Another shot on target. Dingle Bell, this is the game they needed.
A wake-up call, indeed, for Birds and Bees, to say the least. Bell just steals that one off his hood. Sipical playing the near post. I mean, that's not the worst defensive position in the world, but you get that hard bounce off that back wall, and there's no way you're going to cover the net. You just take a guess and hope they hit it into you. There's no chance for the defense there.
Dingle Bell, gotta be so happy with how this game has gone so far. Birds and Bees. I mean, we were talking about it just before we got into the match about how adapting is such a huge part of high-level Rocket League. Have Dingle Bell adapted to what Birds and Bees were putting in front of them? I mean, I know we've seen 2 kickoff goals, but
I would say absolutely not.
Dingle Bell's first few goals out from neutral play.
Yeah, I don't really think they've adapted. I think they're kind of just catching Birds and Bees, you know, not controlling the game for once.
There's a lot more early challenges and a lot better challenges coming out from Dingle Bell. Putting their car higher.
See, they still just launch that ball down the field. It's the exact same thing.
I mean, they don't need to do anything else.
That's
at this
true.
point
It's a
in
minute
time.
35. They're just cruising at this point, but still. I mean, you still have to win 3 games in a row. You'd like to see the approach change now while it doesn't matter. Because there's no guarantee that Dingle Bell go up 2 goals in game number 4 with 2 kickoffs and be up 3-0 in, you know, a minute and a half.
That shot off the crossbar. Might just be another punch to the gut over to Birds and Bees. And find some way of cracking the Dingle Bell defense. Looking to go one better right now at Dingle Bell. Got beat 3-0 in game number 1. Currently on force to better that by just 1 with a 4-0 victory over here.
And Roll Diz.
He wants to go the entire way. Drawing circles in the ground with his car. Might even got a setup. Gonna drop down. Derek thinking about it. Wants to go for the ground pinch. That's the second time he's attempted that this game.
It's a good idea, though. It's very powerful from that close if you get the angle right.
Very difficult to pull off, though.
Yeah, if you get the angle right, it's pretty much unstoppable.
He's going to go over the top. Can Diz finally find the
have
first goal? And they will. 4 goals to 1. But unless Dingle Bell can give away some kickoffs just like we saw earlier on for Birds and Bees, it's going to be difficult.
And I was going to say, it's good of Roll Diz and Sipical in this game number 3, excuse me. Like, they kind of stopped the bleeding after that 4th goal. There was a pretty long stretch of time, 2.5, maybe about 2 minutes time, where they didn't really let Derek and Bell put a super big threat on the net. And as soon as that happened, I mean, Derek and Bell haven't really accomplished hardly anything. They got a foothold for once. They forced it into a bit more of a neutral battle, and they put one on the board for it.
Free jump on the far side won't be met.
Just for the heck of it, you know. Why not?
Speaking for the heck of it, can we see one more goal? The pre-jump from Derek. Well, everyone's trying to pre-jump right now, but a good half the map away from the ball so far. Still hasn't
Put it
quite
in your own
touched the
net.
floor.
Yes!
Do it for the...
No!
Oh, come on.
Oh,
Oh, that's just disappointing right there.
I agree. I am massively disappointed. But I am happy that Dingle Bell were at least able to take a game, get a little bit of ground here in this series. And now Birds and Bees, honestly, I don't even think you sweat that loss, to be completely honest. You find yourself in a deep hole really, really early, and you know exactly what caused that. It's just like, look, man, we need better kickoffs. Move on. Let's go to Game 4.
So we have a series on our hands, gentlemen. Just when we thought things were starting to settle down a little bit, we were going to see another 3-0. So all of a sudden, we have a game and things turn around a little bit.
Well, yesterday was full of 3-0s, wasn't it? And then the first game today, we get ourselves a 3-1. This time around, we've 2-1. Maybe, just maybe, the first Game 5.
He's cursed it already. He's cursed it already. Chiefs, you smiled. We knew exactly what that meant. It means that
I wasn't
we
too
know
bad of
anything.
it yesterday.
Birds and Bees are winning this game.
This one's done.
Yeah,
you
this
killed
one's
it,
done. Do you
Shogun.
know what? We're not even going to show it. No, of course we're going to show it to you guys. But yeah, just one game away still, obviously, from taking the match. But the guys on Dingle Bell have given themselves a real chance here.
Yeah, but still, the big thing they need to change is their approach on the offense. I said it in the middle of that game. You need to take better care of this ball, because as soon as that bunch of offense early on died out, they didn't really accomplish a whole lot. So they need to change that. You can't just take that win for granted and be like, yeah, we can just do the same thing and win. No, you can't. It's not going to work that way.
I would get a little bit nervous right now if I am Bird and Bees when it comes to the double central kickoffs, because we've now seen both teams happy to try and cheat that one up. That's going to come down to who's got the better kickoff. And we've only seen it once. It's a very small sample so far, but it's a very easy way to lose goals. It's definitely something they're going to want to try and avoid in this match. Derek. Just going to steal that boost away. Bell, an early shot from him. Dingle Bell continuing where they left off in the last game. Early lead for them. Only took 10 seconds.
Oh, Bell he was lurking in a perfect position. He was about 3/4 of the length down the pitch. He waited just in case he got that pinch off the ceiling to play defense. As soon as he saw it come down, he didn't even hesitate. That's one of the few times where double committing is really good, because you've got the timing perfect.
And Bell seems to be reading the game much better. Seemed to be struggling with that in the opening 2 games, but we saw last game he put a ball off the backboard and immediately followed it because he had the feeling that the opponents wouldn't get there in time. And speaking of not getting there in time, 2-0.
Dangerous territory.
I mean, it's happened twice now. I sort of have to look at this and just say, okay, Birds and Bees
hit the ball.
Like, do they sort of panic a little bit as soon as they go a goal down? Are they trying to get this back too quickly?
They did go for the double tap. They did go for the double tap, and I think the double commit off the double tap was the real problem, because I forget which one. They almost had that.
Rolled is having to
take
his time.
Love it.
Goes up high. There's some extra
width
on the play.
I love it.
That should be a tap-in. 1-goal game. And what an opening minute to match number 4.
And this is why you take your time moving up the field. You force that extra bit of thinking on the defensive side. You can't allow them to just play and react. That's actually how a lot of people like to play. They say, I don't like having to sit and wait and think on defense. You kind of psych yourself out a little bit. They buy that extra bit of space over in the midfield. They get a great pass all the way across the pitch and a solid finish. And Birds and Bees right back in it.
Well, last time we saw this, the game ran away from them very quickly. This time around, they managed to stop the bleeding even quicker than last time. And that's going to be huge. They can make a real meal of this matchup. Roldiz. Up on the wall, over to Sipical. They've both committed. How much do they want that? But Derek does not want to try and play that one too early. Instead, wins the challenge. Ball down.
Oh, he's going to get demoed. Ooh, he lived.
Bell, straight back over. Sipical can follow this up, but Derek has at least been there for the challenge. Demo just about missed. Sipical then gets bumped immediately afterwards for his trouble. So Roldiz just wants to see how the ball comes towards him.
But Sipical did win all of those boosts on that right-hand side of the pitch. Really going to limit Derek and Bell's options on offense there, and that's why that drive died so quick.
Back out.
That's
early
not good.
win. That's just off target.
No.
Could still go
Oh,
in,
he didn't
and
get the
it
demo.
does. 3-1. Dingle Bell looking for game 5.
Oh, Sipical, he made this decision. He's like, challenge the ball or get the boost, challenge the ball or get the boost. He kind of did both. let the ball go at the very end, and Derek just inches it off the post. He almost got that demo. If he would have got that demo, they might have had a chance to clear that ball, but just a little too late. And that is a wide open net. Hello? Birds and bees, ring ring. This is the Universal Open calling. Or did your controller run out of batteries?
It would not be the first time in this tournament. I wasn't quite offshore. Yes.
Feels bad, man.
Not really. It would feel bad, man, if some sort of stroke of luck went against them. But that was not a stroke of luck.
That was oh, I'm kicking off. That's that. You know that. You know what I bet that is? That's the 3 seconds is not long enough to take a drink of water. That's what I bet that is.
Bell to the side. Another shot on target. 5-1.
It's not pretty, boys. It's game 5.
I mean, I brought it up during the post-match or the post-game analysis of
3.
Bird and Bees not knowing how to play from behind. It seems to very much be the case. They are letting these games get away from them a little bit too easily.
Imagine how different this game would have been if Sipical would have... Oh, he's lost a teammate. Roll Diz has disconnected. Okay, maybe that explains what's going on here. Roll Diz might have lost internet. So now it all makes perfect sense.
It does make a little bit more sense right now. The rules of ranked are correct. It does mean Sipical can leave and not be banned. So at least he's got that going for him.
That's great. That's great. Small mercies, right?
However, this now means that we can sound the alarm. It is freestyle
I was about to
here
say,
on Universal Open.
You beat me to it.
Let's see what you've got, boys.
Derek and Bell style points. This is the one time you get to do the Rocket League All-Star dunk contest. You know what I mean? And he failed it. That's a 3.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You're allowed a couple of different attempts. Sipical.
He's gonna let him shoot. Oh, this is great.
No, he's not. See, as long as Sipical keeps moving, all of these shots can be put on a montage.
He's gonna let him shoot. He's just cruising. He's like, here, take the ball. Oh, never mind.
No,
He
he's got something of his own. He's got the flip reset.
Oh, he's got the.
Oh, okay, he's got the best one. That's the best one we've seen. He's better without his teammate.
Why not? Oh, he had the flip reset too. You can see Bell thinking about that the whole way too. He tried to get it at the end. He was a little bit too far
It was better
forward.
without. It was if he didn't even use the flip reset.
It just coasted, let it roll in. That would have
That's
been
something
pretty
that
filthy.
no one ever does. As soon as they get the flip reset, they always feel like they need to do it. I want someone to really obviously get the ball touch. Suddenly, the teammate, I believe, is back.
Oh.
Yes, he is, and you're better about it.
Rolled his back, and Sipical lost all of his powers. He misses a clear right here off the back wall.
He doesn't even believe him. He's telling his teammate right now, yo, I had the flip reset. I faked it out. We have a chance, but oh, okay.
Never mind. Never mind. He's too distracted by the hype.
Oh, match back on. The
Fun fact.
freestyle hour has officially hit.
It's close.
Yes, it's done now.
Only one person scored, so that makes Sipical the automatic winner of it, though. But Derek has scored his 7th goal of the series with that last one, though. Fun fact.
It is on target. That's going to go to the back of the net. 3-goal difference. With 1:11 remaining. I know this game's been a little bit ridiculous, but this is a real match still.
This is a match that does count, contrary to what you may believe at home, considering what we just did. But this one does lead into game number 5, should Derek and Bell come out on top here. And Sipical trying to make the most of it, trying to go steal some boost in the opposition half after kickoff. Rolled is. They're certainly not going to give up on this game 4. I think they kind of want to just get themselves back into form for the next 5-minute stretch here in 55 seconds.
Rolled is. Goes up high. Maybe a pinch attempt. Almost worked out, but Sipical is around. 45 seconds remaining now. Bell with the forced challenge. Derek, he thought about it, but doesn't want to see any of that. Instead, he wants to go for this one instead. Plays the ball straight out once again. Sipical has Diz as an option.
Too greedy.
Too close as well. Don't think you can really call anything too greedy when you're 3 goals down.
That's a good point. 3 goals down with 30 seconds left. Nothing's too greedy.
Could go back into the net, though. The shot is on target, but he's not around. Have to really hook across there, but the ball was always running away from him. 10 seconds remaining now. And for the first time
Game 5
of Season 2 of the Universal Open, we have ourselves a Game 5. I'll tell you what, as long as we can have no controller, no internet, and no issues in general,
I will be happy.
I'm looking very much forward to it. Onset, you look incredibly happy over there. However, you said I was going to curse this one, so I want you to stare into the camera and apologize.
Stand by everything I said.
You're muted, buddy.
You're muted.
I'm not muted.
Oh, now you're back.
No, I'm here. Don't
Take
worry
two.
about it.
Take two.
Take it again.
Everybody knows what I just said.
Yeah.
I apologize for nothing.
You just got
I
massively
stand by
denied.
my decisions.
I'm just gonna search. I'm just gonna look at our beautiful backdrop.
Yeah, you enjoy yourself over there. But Jenna, I mean, Achieves, me and you'll take it from here. We have a
Actually,
game 5.
people can see how bad my
Finally.
haircut is from the back. We're not doing that.
I'm definitely not turning around because I've got nothing on the back of my head. So. But we finally have a game 5. But I mean, it's a difficult one to break down that game, wasn't it? Maybe we break it down before we had
we have about
the DC. I mean, should we speculate on potentially why that happened?
You know, honestly, I think this game would have been entirely different if Birds and Bees had put in that equalizer at about the 4-minute mark. That double tap off the back.
No, we have a rule over here. Over in England, we're gonna teach you this one.
Okay,
Chiefs.
okay,
It's called the "you won't" rule.
You won't.
Someone,
yeah, okay.
one of his mates came into the room and said, "You're playing the Universal Open. You won't leave."
You won't leave.
At that
you
point,
won't leave.
he has no choice
It's
but to leave.
Yeah, if he's got anything about him, if he's got the minerals, he's going to be leaving. But an interesting fact now is talking about our dual force player of the match. Currently, we have Roll Diz sat on 6 goals
Derek
and
at
9 saves.
How many saves did Derek have?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
I've got to be honest with you. I can only relay the information of who's closest because that's
fair.
you
That's fair.
over in England. It's an English thing. Don't
So
worry.
Disney
it's gonna be my new thing. Anyway,
So Diz needs 1 goal and 2 saves.
he needs 1 goal and 2 saves.
That sounds
to
pretty
finally
normal
take
for a
home.
game.
Yeah, that sounds
exactly. It's
fairly
very,
average.
very doable. So we might well see our first dual force player of the match, otherwise known as the 7-11 moment. But we do have a game 5, all to play for. We've set it up beautifully. Maybe not in the most normal way that we might have expected in the game 4 and how things panned out. But we do have a game 5. How do you think this one's going to turn out? I love a prediction.
It's
Let's
this
do a
first
prediction.
goal.
Let's go.
I have to realize very well. One team sort of capitulating every single time there is an issue. So this very first goal is going to be the biggest deal in this game 5, and we're going to find out who is heading through to the next round. All to play for. However, a loss sends you out of Season 2 of the Universal Open.
Wow. At first, I didn't see Bell on the back wall there, and I was like, there is no way you leave the net wide open to start off Game 5.
We're automatically seeing a huge amount of pace to start us off. No one wants to allow any space available. I want to try and pick up that first goal. Sipical by himself. Ball rolls straight out. Roll Diz.
Decent
Back over
pass.
to Sipical. Close.
That's one you really wish you had 3 people on the pitch right there.
Sipical now once again. Start of this game is all birds and bees. But they've got to try and find some way of turning it into back net. And also, not only that, but making sure they do not overcommit. Remember, they are taking on players that can punish them if they do such a thing. Derek. 0 boost. Can't do a thing there. Flick from Bell, not around either, but he's forced enough respect from his opponents to force him to the halfway line. But still, this ball's stuck on in the orange side of the field. But to get some way out, Bell might be able to offer that, but instead it's off the side of his card. Now looking for the backboard. Derek should be there for the clear. It's touch, not overly convincing. Will open up space for Bird and Bees to keep the pressure on.
This is really, really...
Oh, just off the side. There's Sipical with the shot post. Not in.
So close from Birds and Bees, but this has been a phenomenal opening minute and a half from them. I don't even think Derek and Bell have been on the blue half. This might be their first chance.
This is now going to be them trying to set something up for themselves. Almost chances don't count for anything here. Got to get that ball in the back of the net. Lovely block there from Derek. Wants to get another. Instead, it's going to be Diz. Block of his own. Ball is
he's too
high
close.
and loose. And Derek
Whoa.
will be beat to the ball. Why did he go for that?
Well, I think Derek, he might have initially, because he kind of sees Sipical flip right there, and then he's flicking around with the ball camera on his controller. And then all he saw was Sipical flip back towards his own half. He said, sweet, he's going back. And he made that decision. Unfortunately, just didn't get full confirmation of it, you know. just let that one go.
And crucially for Bird and Bees, we've seen them fall apart after having goals scored against them early on in matches. They've got the first goal here. They've done incredibly well from this position previously. Bell off the backboard, Sipical isn't there, double commit. Should have left it for Derek, he had more of a run on, he had a better angle to shoot from. Flicker is off the crossbar. Bell knew just enough about that to know that it wasn't going to go in. Did not want to commit to that ball. But pressure back on from Birds and Bees.
Oh, Derek's caught out a little bit.
Backboard from him. Follow up from Diz. It's slow. It's dangerous. It's not in.
Yes!
It is in.
Man, you want to talk about really having to work for your money right here. Roll Diz almost able to do to himself. Sipical, though, love the aggression. It's so easy to see that soft touch up on the back wall and know that the defense might be able to get this really strong clear and play a little bit too far forward, but he can recognize that it's a really awkward position, commits himself aggressively to it. If they get it, then they get it, and it's probably not going to be enough to make it worth your while.
So now 2 goals to the better. Bird and Bees suddenly very comfortable in this matchup, but there is still 2 minutes left on the clock. Derek. Ball played all the way out. Bell has
Nice
control.
demo.
The demo is through, but Roll Diz is already around. Shot from Derek. Just tries to force it up, but he needed that ball to be higher to really cause any sort of damage on the defensive side. And it's almost blissfully cleared away from Birds and Bees. They are on the verge of knocking out Dingle Bell in what has been an incredibly hard-fought series. Option is on the far side.
It's a long way to go, though. 90 seconds can feel like an eternity.
Especially if Dingle Bell can get a hold of some more kickoffs. Towards the net, it's into the back of the net. 3-0. Birds and Bees, they made it hard for themselves, but they're on the verge here of progressing to the next round.
Roll Diz keeps the speed up going around the side wall, gets a nice shot all the way from the corner of the pitch. It's so easy to mistime that jump coming around those corners, mostly because I do that all the time, and it makes me really sad that I can't do shots like that. So well done, Roll Diz.
Do you know who's not going to be all that sad right now? Birds and Bees. Cloud 9 right now for them. They've got to be feeling it.
I honestly thought you were like talking about the team Cloud 9 for like that
I
long.
love that team names and player names can just remove parts of your vocab from you. Cheers a lot. Sipical. Just looking to clear those lines now.
Oh,
Nothing
no.
else needed, but 4
no.
goals is better than 3. It's all but confirmed at this point. Birds and Bees have steamrolled Dingle Bell in Game 5.
And this is kind of a bit of a write-off goal. This one you can't really fault Derek and Bell. They're just trying to make
They gotta
something
do
happen.
something.
It's elimination, and they gotta get it. But we were talking about Roll Diz and Sipical. They both got a lot of things done. So really well done on offense for them here in this game number 4. I said it would be really telling that first minute and a half if they get boxed in on their own half. They came out here guns blazing, a lot of good offense. Didn't let Derek and Bell get anything going, controlled the pace of the game just like they did in games number 1 and 2.
You said they haven't got anything going. That dual force player of the match is on the line here, and yet Dingle Bell has had no opportunities to even force that many saves out. Roll Diz, looking to fake out. Drop down, that's past his teammate, but will they care? Will they ever?
Hey.
Goes into the back of the net. It's nothing more than consolation though for Dingle Bell. They are effectively out.
Effectively out is right. And what can you do? But, you know, Bell gets to smile. At least he nailed the sweet double tap to close off the Universal Open run. But all credit to Roll Diz and Sipical. You educated me on what it means to have an upset. You know, they've really earned it here. And I really am curious to see how they perform on day number 3, because that's where they're headed.
And the own goal.
Why not give him another one? Why not? Why
Give
not?
some stats padding over to Sipical. Good sports to the end are Dingle Bell, but this is the end of their road. And this Game 5 just never went in their favor. It seemed like from the very first minute they were stuck in their own half.
Yeah.
And now they are stuck out of the tournament.
They honestly couldn't even get anything going on set. It was just, hey, we're going to hit the ball at you, and if you don't hit it, we're going to score.
There was a lot to take away from that match, though. Not only was it our first Game 5 of the day, I'm pleased to finally announce we have a dual force player of the match. And it is, of course, the man, Roll Deers. He hit 7 goals and 11 saves during that match. So congratulations to our first dual force player of the match. Of course, Roll Deers taking that one home, gentlemen. We've been trying to give that title away for a little bit. We finally managed to do it. So congratulations to him.
So it only takes 5 games. We need a 5-game series
5-game
to
thrillers.
get that. Okay. You know what? If that's what it takes, that's what it takes. I'm not going to complain about that at all. That was a phenomenal series. Twists,
Absolutely.
turns, almost a reverse sweep, but
He wasn't even there for half of Game 4.
what? No complaints. That is a man worthy of the title.
It literally had everything. Anyway, the Game 5. Let's have a quick, brisk bracket update as well to keep you abreast of everything that's going on at the moment in the tournament and see where we're standing at the moment. As you can see here right now, the teams are waiting to qualify at the end of our Eastern bracket here, and you can see Bird and Bees moving on. They progressed to take on the winner of our next match, which will be Fullmetal Gaming taking on Splice. But I mean, it was a close series. We had our Game 5. I don't think that's quite right. It was 3-2, wasn't it? I believe,
Yes.
of the series that we just saw. We did see that Game 5. So we've had it all pretty much, to be honest with you. And also, we had a lot of goals in that game. But I mean, what was the impressive thing for you? I mean, we talked about this, how it was a little bit of an underdog story, right? And there was a bit of shaky moments in the middle in that Game 3 and that Game 4. Obviously, Game 4, you know, we have to take with a little bit of a pinch of salt. And I say that because I literally looked to the left of you, and there is some salt on the...
Is there really?
Yeah,
Oh,
there is.
totally
There's
is.
actually some salt there.
Right there.
That's fantastic.
So yeah, thanks for the verbal prompt there. But you know, there were some twists and turns. But do you think that's an experience thing as well? Sometimes when you're one game away from, you know, closing out a series, you can start to think
Complacency.
but also, you know, nervousness. You maybe you try and do things that you wouldn't have done before.
It certainly could be, but again, like they're no strangers to playing tournaments. Rolled as Incipical, so they were able to close it out in the end. And to be honest, I mean, rest up, get ready for your next match tomorrow, because you're gonna. It doesn't matter who you're gonna play tomorrow, because they've got what, NRG, Sathstro, Space Station, and who's the other
Upper
one?
90.
Upper 90. It's like none of those matches are gonna be easy. So.
There's a little worry for me there, because we saw their strongest point of their gameplay was their ability to hold the halfway line.
Yeah.
Every single time Derek and Bell tried to move forward, they were basically being stopped by a brick wall. If they were to take on a team like Upper 90, a team that's much stronger in those 1v1 situations, and suddenly that gets taken away, that could lead to some worries for them. It definitely wasn't something they had to worry about so far, but that strength could also be a weakness.
Well, one thing that we should also take away from that series is the amount of goals scored as well. Of course, we need to thank our fantastic sponsor, Soylent, in their fight against hunger. As we are joining them in that fight against hunger during this broadcast, there was 26 goals, I believe, scored in that last series, which translates into 26 meals for the World Food Programme. 260 meals. That's why you're here. That's why you're here. That's why I love you.
Keep you honest.
You've got your stats there. 260 meals for the World Food Programme over in the USA, which takes us up to a total, I believe, of 470
we're gonna blitz
meals
yesterday.
for today. So yeah, I mean, the target that was set yesterday is well on its
74.
way to being beaten. So things are looking good at the moment as far as that cause is concerned. Of course, if you want to get involved, head over to the website and get involved as well, because, you know, we want everyone involved. Also, if you want to get involved, use the hashtag UOS2, because we want you to be involved as well in the conversation. Let us know if you enjoyed that game number 5 that you just saw as well, of course, as in being here and being present for our first ever Dual Force player of the match. Now, we've got one more match to come, gentlemen. One more match to come. Obviously, we're going to see Splice again. Let's talk about the other side of that a little bit, very quickly, just before we take a quick break before we go into our next game. Their opponents here, what have they got to do to beat Splice? Because I feel like one of you is going to say something about stopping infield passes.
Yeah, Shogun, what do you think?
You can sort of like hammer this home as much as possible. I think Splice knew what they did wrong yesterday. I think they just let the moment get to themselves a little bit. We already know they are way more creative than what we saw from them. So I don't think that's necessarily going to be too much of a problem. I think for Fullmetal Gaming, it's going to be very important to keep the rotation as fast as they possibly can. As soon as they drop that pace, they're going to lose what is their main threat against Splice. But if they can keep that up and they can keep challenging and maybe have someone close on the shadow, they've got every chance of taking this.
Yeah, and I think if you're Fullmetal Gaming, the big thing is going to be you have to be aware of where that second player is. It's not necessarily to defend the infield pass. You just have to be aware of whether or not you're actually beat to a ball. If you're going to go for a challenge, are you at least going to make it to that challenge before it gets beat? So being aware of what's going on around the entire length of the pitch is going to be very important for them.
Okay then, well it is time for another very quick break, but when we get back we will have our final game of the day. It's going to be Splice taking on Fullmetal Gaming. As I say, the last game of the day, well, we're hoping it's going to be a good one. We'll see you just after this.
Rocket League is coming back to NBC Sports, and you can get in the game. The Universal Open, presented by 7-Eleven and Brisk, is a chance for you and a teammate to compete against the best Rocket League players in the world. The goal? Play live in the studio for the $100,000 prize pool. Sign up now at universalopen.gg. Prove you're the best Rocket League duo in the world, right here on NBC Sports.
So, State Farm will be here to help protect our home.
Of course.
What about here?
Yep.
Here? Mm-hmm. Here?
Feels a little awkward.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.
So...
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Universal Open Season 2, sponsored by our good friends over at Brisk and 7-Eleven. We're now here for our final match of the night, and it's going to be, once again, another elimination game. It's going to be Splice going up against Fullmetal Gaming. Gentlemen, we've just seen our first game 5 of the day. Now we're seeing our final game of the day, and we're going to send one more team home today as one more team's hopes and dreams, they stay alive here. Now, of course, we've seen a lot of Splice on day number 1. We saw quite a lot of them. We saw them twice. Now, Fullmetal Gaming, they've got it all to do. They're coming into this one as the underdog, but Splice showed a particular pattern to their play and how they played yesterday that they could potentially exploit.
Yeah, they did show a pattern, but again, Shogun kind of touched on it right before the break. We know Splice can do a lot more than just, hit the ball in towards the center of the pitch.
That's the reason why we're getting frustrated with it, because it's just like you have so many other tricks in the back. It was like a magician came in, said, "Okay, I'm going to pose up my hat. Okay, what else you got?
First time around,
I've got
it was
this
awesome.
in my hat. It's the same thing. You've put out 2 bunnies. There's another bunny in the hat. Okay, can I see something different? Can I see you like pull something out my ear or
Like
something?
a carrot.
Yes.
Just,
But I'm sure they've gone back. They've got out the big box. They're ready to saw someone in half. They're all ready to go. The bag of tricks are all out.
I just look at you and I see you as that person. The one that you see that gets it wrong. That's Shogun the magician who tries to cut someone in half in a box and just goes.
He's got the wizard
Can I have my
hat.
single cam for a second? I want to literally just nail this. Just the. No. Just that moment.
I feel.
We'll be back in 2 minutes. So we'll just quickly on the mobile phone. Just like I don't know if you go 999 or mum. It's one of the two, isn't it? Like the career's over. Whatever happens.
Is that's not my fault to start with. If you have seen me and just gone, what's a really smart idea right now? Let's give that guy a saw.
And to be honest, even to the point where you've gone to someone, I want to be a magician. Someone has to go no, Shogun. Someone has to take that responsibility on themselves.
That was going to be my original idea, but just not going to happen.
Well, let's talk about this game a little bit more. We got a little bit sidetracked, but we're trying to have fun here at the Universal Open, so why wouldn't we? Achieves is loving it, by the way.
Dude,
He's
this
just
is great.
Sitting here in the middle, just giggling as.
It's like they're like, "Oh, the banter's been great." I'm like, "Your guys' banter's been great. I'm just enjoying it. This is wonderful."
Well, let's talk about this game a little bit more. Fullmetal Gaming, they had a pretty difficult run yesterday, but they are still alive in the tournament. How far do you think they can go? Do you genuinely think they have it in them to maybe take down Splice? Because it would be an upset.
Do I think they have it in them to take down Splice? Absolutely. Do I think it will happen? That's another story.
I am inclined to agree. I think in order for Fullmetal Gaming to really win this one here, I think Splice have to underperform.
Exactly.
And they have to underperform quite significantly. So if we come out of this and we say, okay, Fullmetal Gaming is now through, there are problems over in that camp.
Well, of course, we want you guys to be involved as well. Just a little reminder for some tweets that we want to hear from you guys. Use the hashtag Shogun. Oh, he let me down.
I thought the hashtag was Shogun.
He let me down.
That
It's
was a little
hashtag
confusing.
UOS2. It wasn't confusing.
No,
You just-
hashtag Shogun.
No.
I'm checking
definitely
that
not.
hashtag tonight.
If that trends at any point during my life,
You will resign.
I'll make a promise that I can't keep. But use the hashtag
You see, he knows
UOS2.
it's possible.
We want to hear your guys' thoughts. We want to hear if you think that Shogun would make a good magician, or if you think that would be a one-way trip to the hospital for his victims. Anyway, we're just waiting for the lobby to get filled at the moment. Looks like we're waiting on Fullmetal
You call
Gaming
them victims,
to
I
get
call
involved.
them glorious helpers.
Yeah. Oh man.
This
That's
broadcast
terrifying.
just got real dark
That's
really quickly.
terrifying.
Really quickly. But let's talk about what we've seen so far today. I mean, what have been some of your standout moments? Obviously, we had that Game 5, and also we had our, the Dual Force player of the match finally coming out. But, I mean, give me your highlights so far
Mine's
today.
pretty easy. We had Freestyle AM, Freestyle O'Clock
Freestyle
come out.
O'Clock was
We
good.
looked at 2 different players on the pitch, and it wasn't either of them that scored the best freestyle. Easily the best moment of the day.
I do think in general, though, if not to pick, Freestyle O'Clock, because that was pretty great. I would just say overall, it was nice to see Birds and Bees come out with that level of offense. Us not being fully aware of what they could really do, and then coming out and getting to showcase what they were really capable of, gives me a lot of hope for them tomorrow. It's going to be tough, but it'll be good.
Yeah, I think it's a fantastic point, and I think you previously alluded to it, that's what the Universal Open is all about. Get involved. But the 2 teams we're about to see in our final match of the day are ready to roll. It's going to be Splice in the blue taking on Fullmetal Gaming.
Well, as you mentioned there on set, only one team will be involved in tomorrow's broadcast. Both of these teams are 2 more wins away from being featured in the next round. But they've got to get past one another, and then they've got one of the teams that are currently held in our upper bracket. So get through as Karma goes to the egg, gets a demo anyway. There is nothing but positives to come out from that particular move. J-Wiz's touch, though, not that good at all. That leaves an open net until Karma gets there in time. Huncho, I didn't think even expected to get anything on that.
Splice
J-Wiz has got to sort that out.
And Splice is a bit strapped for boost. Yesterday, J-Wiz struggling a lot on the boost control. That'll be one thing to keep an eye on, is how much boost does J-Wiz have in the tank, or Splice in general.
Oh, Chronic up. Chronic down. Just couldn't force the ball through. Always wanted to see if he could force the challenge. Huncho now up. J-Wiz. Karma will be loitering around. She goes up early. J-Wiz, though, keeps the pressure, at least with a little tap over to the other side. There is that danger when they do double commit for those plays that they can just get caught with a long ball towards their own net. Shot almost on target. Huncho will be happy to see that one away.
Yeah, J-Wiz with a good idea. Does he have enough boost to get this one? No, it'll be taken away. Karma just not even going to give him the option.
Now Karma one-on-one against Huncho. She plays early. Very heavy first touch.
Yeah, and also a little bit too much speed behind it as well. Kind of floated away from that ball.
Taking your time now. J-Wiz on the far side. He will be the option. His touch, though, straight to the corner. Should be easily dealable by Huncho, but there's a bit of a fast-paced attempt there for an offense that was not really heading towards them. Could spend a little bit more time trying to set up what they wanted. Chronic on the far side.
Okay.
J-Wiz, he's flipped around one. He's got it past two. J-Wiz, he knows he underperformed yesterday. That was exactly what he needed to come up with.
I honestly don't know if he sort of looked at the defense right there when he got that second touch, or if he just went for the fake and said, nah, I'm just going to hit it again. I really want to know. But either way, J-Wiz, spin, flip, twist, make it look pretty, do whatever you got to do. I was about to say Splice haven't really been doing anything other than infield passes, and then J-Wiz did that. So that was great to see.
Said I want to see some new magic tricks. Certainly was something new right there. J-Wiz, big clear from him. He can now follow up at the stealing the middle boost. He's looking to steal on the far boost. Could make Fullmetal Gaming's lives incredibly difficult. You can see Huncho just trying to get some way out. Karma now off the ceiling, gets the setup, and there's J-Wizmont, 2-0.
And you really see Splice trying to take a lot of advantage of these walls here in this game. Carmen just beats him to the ball, honestly. There's not too much else to go off.
Well, it's something that we talk about quite often. Usually a lot of the words that we as analysts always say is width. Add some more width to your gameplay, you know, pass up the wall. But we never really talk about height, and when you add height to your gameplay, if you're on a wall, you're using very little boost to get over to that ball, while someone that's got to come to challenge you has got to use at least 50 to 60.
Mm-hmm. Unless they use the wall too. And
Unless
then
they use the wall too.
That's new meta.
Oh. No one ever plays on the floor anymore. Everyone's just circling around on the wall. J-Wizmont. Have a little think about it. Now Karma's going to be forced to rotate back as quickly as she possibly can. Since she did steal the boost, she should be just fine here. Flick is pretty decent, but J-Wizmont's clear. Enough to stave off the pressure for the time being. Karma up high.
Oh, no.
Can follow up her touch off the backboard. They found a lot of success so far of just pelting that ball off the backboard and then getting the teammate to follow up.
Oh, he got caught going for boost. See you later. J-Wiz with a power slide cut.
Sometimes you just get a little bit too comfortable with what's coming towards you, and that's exactly what happened there. The boost, the shiny thing, more important than the ball. Trust me, we all know how that feels.
Every time.
Every time.
Every time in range, boost over ball. You don't care if that ball's going to bounce off your back wall and go towards the top of the box. That 100 boost pad sitting right there.
How can I possibly celebrate the goal my opponent scored if I don't have 100 boost to do it?
Exactly.
Chronic. It's a bit of a chronic situation right now for Fullmetal
Nice
Gaming.
touch.
3 goals to nothing. Have been held in their own side for the majority of this opening game. No bite there. Flick up, Karma. She would love to make it 4. She could very well do it. Couldn't drop down enough in time. But Fullmetal Gaming have been rarely allowed to come off the back foot.
And a lot of that stemming from them not having a lot of boost to really do that with. That was one of the big keys to success for Splice yesterday in their first series that we showed. They really did not allow their opposition a lot of boost to move out of their own half. Like right now, Huncho's got about 50, but Chronic's just fighting on nothing, trying to keep this ball out of their half. They just don't have enough boost between them to really move on to offense.
As the time ticks away, Fullmetal Gaming just looking for a goal. They do not want to get stuck with with a drought on their hands where they just can't find any way past. It's incredible how suddenly, once you get 1 or 2 goals past someone, it becomes so much easier in that 360. It seems like an assertion of dominance right now from Splice, letting Fullmetal Gaming know we are the rival series team here, and we are the ones that you've got to beat to make it through to the next round. We head towards the final few seconds of this match. Huncho to try and play forward. The Splice are having absolutely none of it. That won't go in. Splice 3-0 in game number 1.
I mean, like they say in Street Fighter, Shogun, it's you need the mix-ups in your gameplay. Otherwise, you know, it's too easy to play against. And we got a fair bit of mix-up there in that game 1. So it's good to see Splice kind of come out, flex the muscles a little bit between all of them.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. I think Splice did exactly what we asked yesterday. You two guys in particular saying, you know, they need to mix up their gameplay a little bit, and they did exactly that. Fullmetal Gaming, didn't see too much from them, either, you know, defensively or offensively, to be honest with you, in that game. Do you think we're going to see a similar pattern for the rest of this series? Or, you know, we talk about adaptation. Do you think they're good enough to adapt to what Splice are doing?
Good enough to adapt? Well, the first things first, you need boost to be able to do anything. I'm not necessarily sure if it was them not being able to read the play so much as them not having the resources to do anything about it.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that right there. I mean, we can see what Karma can do with 9 boosts.
Yeah.
You know, off the wall, great setup. But if you've not got the ability, I mean, we said before we got into this matchup, it's all about pace for them. If they can keep up the pace, if they can keep challenging, they've got every chance of trying to win this. But when you've got no boost, you've got no pace, they can't challenge, and that's allowing Splice to set up whatever they want to. And they're doing well off it. Splice are opening up gaps where really they've got, I mean, we're seeing from Fullmetal Gaming, they've got 2 players on the defense, and yet still it's not enough because they are being opened up by some very creative moves.
It's very, very true. Well, one player who seems to be stepping up a little bit as we're about to get into our game number 2 is Jwiz, that we mentioned yesterday. You mentioned before, didn't have, you know, the performance he would have maybe wanted yesterday, but definitely performing well today.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I really want to see him like sort of power those balls a little bit more. You see every single time he's got the ball in his own half or he's trying to hit it from the halfway line. Not quite getting the sort of power that we are used to from him. But everything outside of that has been pretty much, you know, the Jwizmont that we expect.
Yeah, a lot of dribbles, a lot of mechanics, and that's a nice attempt at the back wall. Karma just waiting. It
doesn't result in a goal, but it results in someone telling you, I can do this. You've got to respect what I've got right here. If you give Jwizmont any sort of space, he can make you pay for it.
And I think you really kind of hit the nail on the head, though. It's like you have to force your opposition to respect your options. It's like there's a reason it's hard to play against pro players is because the only reason they can do whatever they want is because you know they can hit whatever they want.
Well, there's also a case of name value as well. There's some players out that you'll play against, you just go, oh, okay, I know he can't do anything, really.
Yeah, Shogun.
But then you see other players out there and you just go, oh, wow. I've seen him before. He is incredible at everything, as Onset points at himself. Not sure what game he thinks he's playing, but in game number 2, Fullmetal Gaming have taken the lead.
Just enough to. Jwiz, he went for a nice idea. He tried to pinch that ball off that post and just get that all the way down to the orange side. Unfortunately, the timing wasn't quite there and just pushed it right into the top of the box. A free ball for FMG, but a good idea.
Well, it's going to be a very good start here for Fullmetal Gaming. Time is available. Looking to try to go off the backboard, but Karma is already around. She sees that one coming from pretty much a mile off. Now Jwiz goes the entire length by himself. Karma, that's too much angle for her to take a shot from. But Jwiz not able to get the power shots right now, but if he's taking the ball down to dribble, he is creating more than enough havoc.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I definitely want to see Jwiz much more in command on the ground in the rest of this game. Good chance right here.
Jwiz now takes it. Chronic is the player to beat.
A little too much on that second touch.
Just trying to predict where the ball was going to go and pick up some boost. It was actually planned successful if that's what he wanted to pull off. Do find themselves back on the defense, but not really too much to worry about at this point in time. Chronic very late on the challenge, and that's suddenly a bit of a worry. They were very quick with their challenges in the last round. Some hesitation right now. They've still got that goal up. If they allow too much space, then stuff like this can happen. Rolls up high. The post is nice this time around. Now Chronic clears long. Jwizmont straight back down to Karma. She is turned backwards. They would have loved to have just got that ball straight back over. There is no challenge for an incredibly long time. Karma gets that drop back down. Can challenge once again. J-Wiz is an option if it will settle down anywhere in a shooting position. But that's going to go long. Not on target, however. And Karma was there to clear the danger anyway.
Yeah, and that's the good communication there from Splice. I've been hovering on J-Wiz's perspective for the last maybe minute and a half or so. And he really only goes for something crazy aggressive like that if he only really has to.
Huncho. Good block from him. Chronic, though, too central to really do much with this.
Oh, I love it.
Wasting some time. Now J-Wiz becomes the passing option. Straight back down.
No, bad angle.
Just could have done better if she just tried to force the ball over to Karma.
Oh,
Bump attempted. J-Wiz cannot do a thing. Fullmetal Gaming have had 2 chances this entire game, and they've got 2 goals.
Yeah, J-Wiz with a poor rotation into the net. He cut the corner a little bit too sharp, ended up right in the middle of the box. Did not have a good perspective on that bounce. Very tough play to make, and then obviously compounded by Huncho with a big bump.
And just under 2 minutes remaining. Karma. He doesn't get any boost, so Chronic played a very loose ball there. Could have potentially moved the ball further downfield. Early shot there from Chronic. Continued to control, but instead hands it off to Huncho. FMG just wanted to hold on, but J-Wiz is off on the hunt.
Nice bump.
Trying to bump, trying to bully, trying to score, but Chronic is back in time. 2-0, it's still the scoreline.
It's like that's a little bit of salt coming out from J-Wiz. Says, you're going to bump me out of the way, I'm going to go and get you 2. And Chronic says, I don't care. You're way worse at it than Huncho is.
Just swatted him away like origami. Made him look like he was weighed nothing more than paper. Huncho tries to find the pass out. Chronic will now be aiming
dangerous.
back. J-Wiz is already looking for the demos. Double demo, open goal, scored.
And Splice find themselves right back in the mix here. Only 59 seconds on the clock, but it's a pretty decent chance. This is a good communication from Splice.
It was synchronized as well.
That's the next Rocket League Olympic sport, you know, synchronized demolition, just like synchronized diving.
I'd be up for that.
Same with synchronized freestyle would be another good one.
Synchronized freestyle, we've tried that before, and that did not go very well.
Who'd you try it with?
I believe it was some of the pros, like just before RLCS started.
Oh, never mind. It definitely should have worked. Sorry. Because if you said like me, then I'd say, oh my goodness. We
didn't try it with you, but they try once again for that infield pass, and this time around, it does work. That's going to be a huge confidence boost for Splice.
Yeah.
They have tied this game back up.
And it all stems from Chronic trying to make that awkward challenge. If he does not go for that ball and lets Huncho, who has a much better position and a much better ability to go and clear that ball in an effective manner, or at least just gets out of his way, and just lets his teammate take that, they probably get that clear. Unfortunately, they concede a big equalizer. And how about another one? That one's muscled off the back wall.
And Karma was already going for the bump up on the wall. Splice very happy to play the physical game at this point in time. Huncho hands one back. Now Chronic on the dribble. J-Wiz just trying to see that ball away. Next goal could win.
Ooh, good chance.
Towards last few seconds of this match. Remember, overtime will be the result if
he can get it
even, but J-Wiz has got one of the final opportunities. It could lay out to Karma. They've got in front of each other's way. Karma taking her time. J-Wiz instead. He's taking himself.
No.
Karma, where is she for the shot? On target!
No.
Saved!
Man, J-Wiz, such a good recognition there at the end there. He stole the boost, whipped around, and said, hang on, they're not here yet. Let's try and make something happen. Just got a little bit too much gas behind it. Here's another chance in OT, though.
Gonna go straight back out. Chronic racing the ball down. As well as he did, I don't believe physical contact is allowed in racing. However, it is allowed in Rocket League.
That's why it's the best one. There's no penalty kicks in Rocket League.
I would love to see 100 meters, but everyone's just allowed to trip each other up on the way.
The most BM 100-meter race ever.
It'd be fantastic. Olympics getting contact. I got you sorted. 2v1. Chronic. Infield pass. They're going to go for the bump. It's nailed. Chronic just put the ball too high. It was right there for them. And now they find themselves on the defensive.
It's a race and a weird clear back. High off the back walls. Needs this touch, and he can't get it. Thankfully, Splice missed it too.
J-Wizmon puts the ball forward. He just wants to make sure that FMG are moving and not trying to chase down the ball. As Karma was getting herself back into position.
Good time waster there from Karma. Definitely no chance at a pass or a shot, just trying to buy time for J-Wiz to get boost.
FMG, they were leading this game by 2 goals to nothing to start with. That lead has all but evaporated at this point in time. Still chasing after their first game win.
Oh,
Shot
no.
is on target, but it's way too slow. Karma can not only save it, but she can rocket it to the other end of the field. Chronic's mistouched. And Huncho there for the save, but how much more have FMG got in the defensive tank?
Well,
They
they've
try and
got
find
25
some
between them.
Way out, 25 on Huncho. That was used for the flick. Also used for some more bumping. Karma taking control of the ball. Splice's main priority right there, control those 2 back boosts.
Oh, and free real estate out of their own half. Karma just keeping that ball stuck on the nose forces the respect.
J-Wiz to the far side. Karma steals the boost
no.
once again. They did bump into each other,
Yeah,
but it will not
Karma
be
hit
too much
J-Wiz.
of an issue. Huncho forcing the block. Splice are just suffocating FMG on this side of the field. One mistake from either side could be the game. Huncho looks to take control, but couldn't land correctly. Just know he would have loved to have cut across that ball the moment he landed.
Ooh, that might do it.
J-Wiz will be back. I think after the issues from yesterday, he's not going to commit to a ball that he does not know for a fact that he is going to win. Far side.
Trying to snipe that back post.
Backboard from her. Into the middle. Chronic just levers a ball clear. 3 minutes of overtime. We are about to approach. But can Chronic end it before we get to that point? Steals boost. Huncho for the shot.
Whoa.
Crossbar. So close. The infield pass will find absolutely no one. J-Wiz.
Oh no.
One-on-one, but can't quite control quick enough.
And FMG have just stepped up huge here in this game. Number 2, Karma air dribble right side and another save coming out of FMG. They won't go down without a fight. Splice having to work for it.
Karma, because of the demo, all the way back. One-on-one. Huncho can almost squeeze the ball past. Karma.
Oh, the
Beast
bump.
one.
Oh, the
Bounce 2. 3 goals to 2. Splice make the comeback and an OT win off an absolute blinder from Karma.
Oh, flex on him, why don't you? 1, 2, and out. This is a brilliant way to end Game 2 in OT. Karma.
Someone get the camera on set right now. He
That
is
was
a happy boy.
unreal. Karma, thank you very much. I mean, what a way to end that game. I mean, but what a game we just had. I mean, Fullmetal Gaming, they gave it their all.
They absolutely did. That was an awesome game from both teams. Karma and J-Wiz really held on to a lot of possession, got to control a lot of the pace of that game, but hats off to Chronic and Huncho. Played some stingy defense, had a couple of really good chances on offense. That Splice also had to play some great defense to make and get those clears. So just an excellent game from both teams.
So this is just the waiting game right now on the replay because there's one thing I know all of us want to see. We got a little while to go for it, but I just want to talk about that OT goal.
It was a good one.
Absolutely ludicrous what Karma was able to do. She hit not one, but 2 separate people. And that comeback was within a minute. So the real question now becomes, when we saw this yesterday from a team, when you go so far up and you drop it and lose, how hard is it to bring yourself back into the correct mindset? Because when we saw this yesterday, that team was unable to come back. But let's take a look at this.
Let's enjoy this.
2, 3.
That is the Karma demolition train coming through and producing the goods when needed to be done. So Splice are now on match point, gentlemen. I mean, this has been the performance we were expecting to see from them in the fact that they are mixing things up. And even in that game, we saw that they still do have that infield pass to potentially use. But when you are mixing things up a little bit, it makes your opposition think that that's not going to happen.
Yes.
It makes it so much easier to create other opportunities, and then you can go back to that.
The infield pass became so prevalent back in Season 4 because the backboard was such a danger back in Season 3. It was sort of like the counter-attack to that because people were on the backboard all the time. They were waiting for the ball to go up there. So if you're on the backboard, you can't cover the infield.
Exactly.
Now, once you start threatening both, that is a danger because that is a no-win situation for most defenses.
It's just like American football, man. You establish the run to open the pass, or vice versa. American football. American football.
Soccer.
Hand egg.
I don't know. Sure, we'll take your word for it on that one. I ain't got a clue for American soccer.
Pansy rugby.
American soccer. FMG, let's see if they've got a comeback in them. Need 3 straight wins. And they're bouncing off a heartbreaking loss in the previous round. Jay Wismon looking to style on them. Opening goal for Splice.
You know, Shogun, tell me if I'm wrong here. Does this look like a defeated team on defense? Is that not the most half-hearted attempt at defending that you've ever seen?
I would be very scared when Splice look comfortable. Because Splice look comfortable right now. That means that they can sort of play with their minds a little bit more. But FMG might be showing some signs of that lack of experience. We've seen, I mean, we just saw very recently how quickly some of the top teams out there can bounce back from disappointment. We saw it multiple times in the final 20 seconds of the RLCS Grand Final.
I think a big thing is going to be how quickly can FMG equalize. I'd like to see him get on the board within a minute and a half.
I wish every single team would have a Violent Panda right behind them, just sort of slapping them on the shoulder, just going, come on, you've still got this.
Violent Panda's a fantastic guy. Easily one of my favorite players.
Huncho. The ball in his possession.
Oh, he got clipped.
Can't do too much more with that one. Is that going to go the entire length of the pitch? It will, but it's just off target. For Fullmetal Gaming, you have to say, if that went in, that could very well have spelled the end of this game. And it's very early, I know.
I agree,
but they need the momentum back after that last game.
They definitely need an equalizer. If you go up 2-0 as Splice, then you start cruise controlling. And mostly, you know it's kind of the end because Chronic and Honcho, if they go down 2-0, you really have to start making some very aggressive decisions, and that's really where a lot of the openings tend to happen in 2v2. There's already so much space you have to cover, and when you have to play that much more aggressively, and if you don't win those, it's too easy to go up even more.
It's going to go all the way out. Just more alluding to your point, as well as the last game did go for Fullmetal Gaming. They're currently on a slide of 4 goals against them. Unanswered so far. Jay Wismon needs to keep that pressure on the orange side of the field.
Nice.
Huncho has done well to win the challenge out, but the roll-up.
The roll-up comes back.
The one thing they didn't want to see.
Every time. That lip is a fickle beast.
Chronic. Straight down to Jay Wismon. Splice.
Too much.
Probing away for this second goal. Not willing to overcommit for it, as they shouldn't.
Here's also where it really... Oh,
Jay Wiz, he's done this a couple of times this game, but it's
it.
working out this time around.
Is that what they call the dolphin dive? Is that it?
I don't know that was called the dolphin dive. That would be... I thought it was just a wave dash.
Well, that's like... I guess I'm... Oh, no.
No, we don't need to call it a dolphin dive because the last thing we need is on-set doing more sound effects. And I don't want to hear an on-set dolphin sound effect.
I don't know. I'm kind of interested in that, to be completely honest.
We will consider asking him once he gets back on camera.
But how about J-Wiz? He just put another one in the back of the net. And Chronic and Honcho kind of caught a little bit too far forward on that defensive rotation there. They were up on that back wall, ready to go, and they missed that first challenge.
Well, if you thought the offensive line from FMG was high previously, it's about to get even higher. All caution is about to get thrown out the window. They are only a minute and 40 seconds away from being knocked out from this tournament. And whilst they've given a very good showing of themselves, every single Rocket League player out there is never happy with the position they finish in unless they win.
Truth.
Back out. That could be number 3. Great save there from Chronic. Keeps his team in. Now down. It's just so sloppy right now from FMG as they try and find a way out. 0 boost on Chronic.
Oh, they can't get it started.
He's trying to get anything going. Huncho on the 1v1. Has one. Karma looking for the tap down. That could be allowing Huncho in. Set up. Chronic is there for the shot. Tapped. In. 2-1. 1 minute remaining. Achieves out of nowhere. We've got ourselves a real match.
Yeah, Karma trying to get a little bit cheeky there. Tries to catch that ball with the backflip, keep it close to her so that when she lands, she can just take it on a dribble and beat that defender. Just didn't get the timing perfectly. Didn't realize the spacing was not in her favor, and she is justly punished.
Now Karma. We've already seen how dangerous she can be up in the air. It's going to go over to Jay Wismon. Just puts the shot a little bit wide. Karma keeps the shooting spree alive.
Need that save.
One of these has got to hit the target at the very least. 2v1, the demo. Just a little bit off, and Jay Wismon bulldozes his way through the remaining players.
That was such a big play by J-Wiz there to kill that drive. out of Fullmetal Gaming. And they leave the net open, and he punched it off the post.
I think that's 6 shots in a row now from Splice that they've put off target. Any of them being on target could have spelt the end of this game. 20 seconds now. Everyone is just scrambled together. It's all down to Chronic to sort something out.
He's got it.
Shots on target! Scored!
Man, Fullmetal Gaming. How about you? We said they have to make some really aggressive decision makings. I was just thinking, Chronic, you didn't read that clear across the net, but it didn't matter. He got a great read off the bounce, and he just nails the putback.
15 seconds. And just like Splice did in the last game, FMG only needed a minute to find a way back into this matchup. The last overtime lasted forever. We could be about to see another one.
Oh no.
J-Wiz, balls up high, it's all down to Huncho. Still dangerous, but he's on the backboard, can't flick the ball away.
Breath.
It's right there for the shot. Overtime saves Fullmetal Gaming.
And Karma is upset. She was right there for that one. Victory dangling in front of your eyes. And you gotta go do another kickoff.
Deja vu so far, but this time it's the other way around. Fullmetal Gaming making a sublime comeback to force this overtime. Now, can they pull off basically a Splice at this point in time and pick up that third?
Must-win game for FMG as well. Down 2-0 in the series. This is elimination point.
J-Wiz to the air for the shot. Crossbar
Karma's there
once again, but Karma
behind him
eliminates Fullmetal Gaming.
Some expert placement here from Karma. She's so patient in the backfield. She knows there's a lot of potential for something crazy to happen, so she's waiting so far back. A double commit from FMG comes through, and she sweeps in, clears it up, picks the spot, and that is going to be Splice moving on to day number 3. But man,
they were made to work.
Exactly. We said, did Fullmetal Gaming have it in them to beat them? You can see absolutely yes they did. Unfortunately, they didn't pull it off in any of the games, but it was a battle except for game 1. Game 1 was pretty clean.
I was very happy after game 1. They started to really pick up the boost. They were much more they were more conscious of it, and they were making sure they were controlling it a lot better. That suddenly turned the game on its head. It was much closer the whole way through. Those last 2 games.
Awesome.
That was what
so
we want.
Close.
That's what we want, isn't it? That's what we want from the Universal Open. That's what we want to see. We want to see matches like that, and we're going to have plenty more to come as the weeks go on. But, I mean, something that we need to point out, and we've been keeping a track of for the entire day, is, of course, the amount of goals that have been scored. So thanks to our fantastic sponsor, Soylent, they'll be giving away 10 meals to every single goal that is scored. So I'm pleased to announce that today there were 60 goals scored, which means 600 meals will be donated to the World Food Programme in the USA. A fantastic achievement, gentlemen. That's more meals that have been raised. There's more in the battle against hunger. We should be very pleased with what the guys have done.
And that's 134 total for the thing, so that's already a total of 1,340. Yes, math. I did it.
Still got a day.
I did it.
Still got a day.
Well, one other thing we need to get into as well is, of course, the State Farm assist of the day. And I believe this one's going to come from the last series that we just saw. It's going to be coming in from Splice, gentlemen. So break this one down for us.
Let's see which one it is first.
Yeah, let's see which one it is. We don't even know.
Oh, it's the double demo.
The double demo.
Of course, it's the
Okay.
double demo.
Okay.
Who did we give the assist to in that scenario?
Yeah, right. I guess technically J-Wiz, as he is officially credited, but I mean, that's just... Karma's is kind of accidental. J-Wiz is definitely playing bulldozer there and says, you got to make the play, and he nails it. Says, look, I'm going to go hit him, drive it straight so I know where they're going. That's actually kind of an underrated thing. You say, I'm going to go for the demo, and you don't realize how much pressure is on the person behind them dribbling the ball to not, like, make any weird cuts, because you don't know what's going on behind you, so you just have to assume that they're going to be able to hit them.
I just want to talk about that last match a little bit more before we move on. Again, of course, congratulations to J-Wiz on taking home the State Farm assist of the day. But I want to talk about Karma, because she had an incredible performance in that. Not only that magical moment, but she always seemed to be coming up at the clutch moments in the game. And not only that, but when the chance came, she was finding the finish when it mattered.
Yeah, very, very patient player. She's always been a patient player. Jay was able to open a lot of doors, but it's that ability to capitalize on all of the opportunities that you get is what separates a big thing. Jay Wiz put in a majority of the goals, but Karma was always there, letting Jay Wiz do his thing, playing that support role. It's a wildly underrated thing. We were talking a little bit about Violent Panda, and that's something he was also very, very good at.
Yeah, I think Karma was very good at just sort of not panicking. She didn't try to rush to there. There was a lot of occasions where I was sort of looking at her and just going, okay, if she is there, she would score. But she didn't need, like, it wasn't desperate for goals. She didn't have to go for it right there and then, and she didn't need to take the risk of, okay, I can predict the future. This might be a setup for me. So she played incredibly well in that role. She took her time, And that was better from them. We've got to say, we're asked for more creativity. We got more creativity. I'm colored happy after that. But now they've got one game away. They've got to try and pick up that win tomorrow. We don't know who they're going to be playing against, but sort of like maybe an advantage for them, really, because they're going to be taking on a team that has just lost earlier on in that day. So maybe they can take advantage of that.
Yeah, they will be looking to do exactly that. But let's have a quick brisk bracket update before we leave you for tonight. Let's see exactly how the land lies once again from the games that we have had today. You can see some of the matches we're going to be having coming up tomorrow as well. It was Splice we just saw taking down Fullmetal Gaming at the bottom of your screen. It was Bird and Bees who took home the win against Dingle in a 3-2 fashion, incredibly close series. It's a really exciting series we've seen today, and you can see Bird and Bees and Splice are the two teams that will be staying alive from our lower bracket. The other games that we have, of course, you can see at the top there, Energy 2 will be taking on Sastrop in the upper bracket, and Space Station versus Upper 90 Esports. The loser of those will, of course, be waiting to take on either Splice or Birds and Bees. Now, first thing we need to do, and another thing we need to do, after we've just seen the bracket, is, of course, we want you guys to be involved. Let us know what you think of the action today, if you've enjoyed it as well. Use the hashtag Shogun. Your turn.
Universal Open.
No, that's not the hashtag. It's UOS2. Shogun is letting me down every time. That's UOS2. That is the hashtag. Get in touch with us.
Well.
Remind Shogun exactly what that hashtag is. It's even written up here. It's written up
right
here.
above Achievement's
I say
head.
written. It's kind of carved. It's quite beautiful. But yeah, get in touch. Let us know if you think Splice are going to be able to make this incredible lower bracket run and find one of those qualification spots, because they're looking at a good position to do it at the moment.
I mean, yeah, it doesn't matter who would they play the team coming out of the top of the bracket, right?
I would imagine.
So the most likely Sathstro.
Possibly. I think. I mean, looking at the bracket, I would prefer to play Sathstro. Like,
you don't want the upper 90 rematch?
I would not want the upper 90 rematch. I sort of went in yesterday sort of going, okay, upper 90 back here, and then I realized I was very wrong. I was just as wrong about that as I was about the hashtag a second.
We got that on camera. Shogun admitting he was wrong. This has been a fantastic day for you. I think we feel like we've made a breakthrough.
We've not only progressed in the tournament, but I've progressed as a person.
Which is,
I can't wait to lose it all.
If we're going to be completely honest, this is what this whole thing was really about.
It's not about the Rocket League. It's just making Shogun, realize that sometimes we're not all Shogun.
That's very true.
You'll never all be Shogun,
and thank goodness for that. But we love you just the way you are. But Achieves, what are some of your final thoughts on today? Some of the action we've seen.
Man, they were all so good.
It was
such a welcome change of pace from yesterday. Yesterday was really separating the wheat from the chaff, and now you got a lot of really good competition between these players, and I just can't wait for tomorrow.
And what about you, Shogun?
I mean, we've mentioned it numerous times, but Freestyle O'Clock.
Freestyle O'Clock.
Freestyle O'Clock will forever be in my heart as the greatest moment of today.
Well, for me, it's going to be Karma's goal towards the end of that series for Splice to win that game in overtime. It was a fantastic goal, but unfortunately, gentlemen, that's going to do us all for today. Just the 3 games for today.
Thanks, J-Lo.
But that is going to be doing it. Yeah, thanks, J-Lo. But anyway, that's going to be doing it all from us. We thank you very much for joining us as always. Shogun, Achieves, it's been a pleasure once again. We'll be back tomorrow with some more games from the Eastern Qualifier.
Yes, yes.
Rocket League is coming back to NBC Sports, and you can get in the game. The Universal Open, presented by 7-Eleven and Brisk, is a chance for you and a teammate to compete against the best Rocket League players in the world. The goal? Play live in the studio for the $100,000 prize pool. Sign up now at universalopen.gg. Prove you're the best Rocket League duo in the world, right here on NBC Sports. Rocket League is coming back to NBC.
So, State Farm will be here to help protect our home.
Of course.
What about here?
Yep.
Here? Mm-hmm. Here?
Feels a little awkward.
Go with the one that's here to help life go right. State Farm.